We are back at the North American Squad League. Definitely going to be a crazy night tonight. Last night, we probably had some of the craziest series we can think of. We watched the Valley tear apart Ackerman, bringing them down to the lower bracket, and we will be seeing them play again tonight. Ackerman, that is. But before that, we have to see who they're going to face against, and the decision of that will be Team Deuce Knights going up against the Simpsons. That will be our first series of tonight, and one of these teams will have to go home. But before we go any farther, you guys know him, Aiko. You guys know him, Private Dancer. How are y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing good tonight, man. You know, I wasn't here yesterday, so I didn't get to see all of the glory and all of the insaneness that went down. But I am here tonight, so I'm ready. I'm pumped. I want to see what Deuce Knights and the Simpsons can put down tonight. And by all means, I'm also here with our King Potato, Private.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, it has been an exciting week. We're squeezing as much as we can, and these teams have been busy, are going to be busy, and continue to be busy. Last night, like he said, we watched not just Ackerman, but Vec Fantasy Main take on Deuce Knights, and Deuce Knights showing a very dominant presence there as well. So, and right now, they're on a roll. They've got that momentum behind them. Is that something that the Simpsons are going to be able to stop here?
It's a great question, right? Because Deuce Knights did look phenomenal. Now, Simpsons also look good. They took that loss early on. They ended up winning, getting to the spot they're at, though, in the bottom bracket. So, and these two teams, these are like the two teams I always enjoy the matches between them. We saw them face off, I think, in the top 8 in the last NACT. Simpsons were able to beat Deuce Knights. So there's always kind of, for some reason, they always end up at it, these two. And I've always kind of put them in a similar power level, power ranking. It's always an enjoyable game. Both of them have their off days. Both of them have their great days. So the question is, which one of them, though, will come out on top, G?
You know, from my standing, I don't even think I predicted this at all. You know?
I did not.
So my standings are kind of a little wonky right now, you know. But if I had to give it to someone right now, you know, I've always been a Simpsons fan. So, you know, both teams are looking good, but I'm going to give it to the Simpsons on this run.
Okay, Private.
Dude, you already know that since I first came in casting, I have always been a fan of Deuce Knights, because last night they showed me because they've always been the underdog team, the team that you don't think is gonna make it, but somehow pulls out the victory. But last night I saw something different. I saw what happens when they start out ahead, and what happens is a very dominant team just completely wiping the floor with their competition. And I am just so excited to see what they can bring against the Simpsons, because these two teams, they have history. They fought before.
You know, for the first time, I think, in the playoffs so far, we have a split caster's desk. We have some different ideas on who is going to take this game. It's normally favorited to one side. So for once, I don't think I have to put an opinion in. Let's leave this even. Let's leave this down the middle. Let us know in the chat what you guys think and who you think is going to take it. It's definitely a hard choice. Both teams have junglers that like to switch it up. We've seen Easy Peasy on the Julian. We've seen Cold World go from jungling into the gold lane, and definitely has played very well as the captain of his team, being able to fall back into a more side lane position like that. So I'm hype. I think we're going to have a great game here. I think it's going to be probably one of the more even matches we've seen. What I can say is I got a feeling we could just go best of 3 here. Now, these teams are ready. Deuce Knights will have first ban, first pick. I'm excited to see what they decide to do here. If there was anything you think that either team needs to watch out for from the other side, what do you think it is, Private?
Well, one, you need to watch out for the Ling. We haven't seen too many bans on Easy Peasy's Ling, but we have seen them pick compositions that Ling does not shine into. And as we saw yesterday, it was not just on Easy Peasy's back, it was on that monster of an XP laner, Hikaru.
Yeah. And I mean, both of those lanes are, you know, sizable lanes. You know, you got the jungle has to control, has to do a lot of the, sometimes even the shot calling, because you know that's where the ganks happen. But then people kind of sleep on the XP lanes. You know, the guys in the casting seats next to me, they were saying, you know, Hikaru was hitting it last night, so I'm expecting big things. I'm expecting big things.
Listen, that Phoveus pick that he picked up, I mean, and then I guess they thought they could handle it. I guess Vec Fantasy felt like they were like, it's okay, we have the one still, you know, we have some possibilities to get around this. But I mean, first turtle, Hikaru makes a play, able to proc the demonic force, and able to just already get a kill. I'm talking like 2.5 minutes. So Hikaru, then he comes in the next game with the Esmeralda, still great zoning capabilities. So he's someone we definitely need to keep our eyes on in that EXP lane. You mentioned a private Ling on easy peasy. He's one of the only junglers still rocking it, honestly, in NA. There's not a lot of teams even picking it up ever. And of course, it doesn't always thrive when going against things like the Akai or certain other picks, but he is still willing to do it and make it work even if the enemy jungle counters him.
Yeah, but that's not to count out the Simpsons. I mean, the big talk right now is on Deuce Knights because they have risen to a level. However, I do feel like Simpsons have already been at that level and steadily played at that level throughout the entire league. They've been very standard. They've had about the same roster. They've been competing here for months in the league, and just one of those titans in the North American Squad League that you're going to have to overcome, not just because of a few players, because all of them have been just this single unit, each one a cogwheel in this machine that has been the Simpsons. And it's something that Deuce Knights are going to have to work hard if they want to overcome.
Yeah, and while all of this is going down, we have some crazy bans happening as well. So just to give a little heads up and a pointer out, we're looking at, we got a Masha, Wan, Claude. From the side of Deuce Knights, seem like they're really targeting the marksman lane. They're really, you know, trying to set that stage of that they don't want to deal with a marksman, and then forces the other team into that Valentina ban.
Beatrix.
And then bam, I told you, like they're really trying to go all in on the gold lane right now.
Yeah, and there you get rid of all the other strong marksmen. We've been seeing that common recently when you have that first pick. If you know you're going to go for that Beatrix up front, use those bans, take out the Claude, take out the Wan, and there's not really much else that can deal with her. I mean, you could still pick up the Clint. Normally you would pick up the Earthil to like counter the Wan. I don't think it really works here, but you need something that can at least maybe keep up with distance. Brody has an okay range with the first skill, but overall he's more of an up close and personal marksman. I don't think he has the capabilities to deal with the Beatrix, so I think they're going to possibly be forced into the Clint pick here, but they are going with this Esmeralda, and Fallen possibly picking up the, I thought, the Ballman. So a solid response.
Yeah, you get that tanky XP laner, the rotating.
I am more than a weapon.
Simpsons if we take it to the second ban phase, just to kind of keep that Esmeralda open. But as you see, very smart decision by Deuce Knights to go ahead and clasp onto that Dairoth early here.
Yep. And then looks like we might, like just like T-Rex was saying, falling right into that Clint pick for the opposite side's marksman here. So crazy. From the side of Deuce Knights, though, we're looking a little squishy. They have a little bit of sustainability, which again, I mean, you can see Hikaru kind of floating through what he wants to decide to use there as his battle spell. But we're expected to see some, you know, some thickness coming from Deuce Knights on these next two picks. We already have that from the Simpsons, so they might do a little bit of a balance. Get, you know, I mean, they're already facing the Diggy, trying to get that out of the way. So maybe they're attempting to possibly, I don't know, maybe a Lolita to stop a lot of that frontal assault. We'll see here, though.
They definitely need a little bit something. Easy peasy falling into that Julian role. I like it. I like it a lot, though the Julian's kind of been hit or miss for a lot of teams. Into these second bans, there goes your Lilia getting banned out, stopping some of that mage pressure that OSP could bring here. Diggy, I'm wondering, still a lot of tanks on the field, right? So this is kind of helping yourself if you want to go something a bit more, you know, like the Atlas. We haven't seen it a lot in the playoffs so far, but it is still always looming. Now, with the Franco taken out of the way, OSP will end up having first pick after this second ban phase, so they're kind of freeing themselves up if they want to take something very aggressive for their tank.
Well, right now there is a decent amount of like snap and burst damage from the side of the Simpsons, given it does take Cold World on that Clint just a little bit of time, maybe getting that BOD, maybe getting the Berserker's Fury or something, but he still needs a little bit of time to kind of start doing that Clint damage that he is so known for. So we might be looking at something a little bit, we're going to be either looking at probably more sustain or tankiness or setting ability, or something that will help them engage, like a speed up there. And from the looks of it, it looks like we are going with the engagement and the setting ability from a Lolita, which I do like. I don't think I see it often enough in the last few weeks from teams here in NA with that the setting ability that some of these tanks provide.
Yeah, I mean, oh, go on.
And one of the biggest things that we're seeing here, they're kind of Rose kind of floating on this Grok. We don't see it played too much, but when you have the combination of Balmon in there and an Esmeralda, unless Esmeralda uses her Starfall to get over it, there's not much they can do. So I feel like Grok is a really good play here, T-Rex.
Yeah, the Grok has been solid, and there are some times where Grok goes on a dead spree, and like we don't see him played. Last night we did see some amazing plays from it. I know you missed out, but I mean, we saw some very from even from losing teams that picked him up. Some great ult wild, I mean, some flicker wild charges, things of that nature. And not only but this wild charge, if he needs to, or even wants to use that wall, he can upset that Numenon blast just a little bit, maybe stop Damien and making a huge play. Also with the wall, he's going to be able to maybe buy himself a little bit of space when this Esmeralda and Fallen on this Balmond are trying to charge him. Now, down to the last pick on the side OSP, Eve was picked up by Fleur, adding a bit more zoning capabilities, but I'm wondering what Andre is going to pick up here.
You're dancing around that Bane pick. I didn't really think that one was going to be serious. So they are going to go ahead and settle on Sicilian. That's going to give them a lot of damage, a little bit more mobility on their mage. He's going to be able to move around more while he's casting his attacks. However, it's one of those super late game, probably not till the 10 or 12 minute mark, where you're really going to see him putting on enough damage. And it's gonna be interesting here too, because like I said, we have not lately been favoring those Eve picks, those Farja picks, because those people are the ones that have to stand still when it comes to their ultimates. They're kind of sitting ducks there. So this is gonna come down to, are we gonna have great placement by Eve, some protection from Grok with that wild charge, or is Lolita gonna be able to get in there? Is Balmon gonna be able to get in there? Esmeralda gonna be able to see it soon enough to be able to offset some of these team fights and initiations?
Well, we will see how this goes, because this is the semifinals of the bottom bracket. This is Deuce Knights going up against the Simpsons. Who will be victorious?
I mean, based upon both drafts, we're looking really good. But if I have to set the stage here for you guys, we're looking at the Simpsons. They're looking for probably a little bit more towards the late game. Having that Sicilian, having that Balmon gives them really good secure over major objectives. So that damage output from Sicilian is also going to be insane. What I see from the side of Deuce Knights is I think they might try to want to end this game early, you know. They have Fleur, so if they do have to get into that late game, they have that security to be able to do a little bit of defense and keep the battle going here, Private.
Yeah, we already see that Hikaru really expanding on that early game advantage he has with Esmeralda, already inside of Fallen's jungle there, trying to take jungle minions away from him. And so really pressing their advantage. But in answer to that, you see Bellman kind of coming up here and sneaking into his jungle here. But Rose here over at the top, at the bottom lane is looking to make something happen.
I don't think anything too major is going to happen. And, you know, I would argue, though, G, that I think both teams brought a little bit of insurance for the early and the late. We have Easy Peasy on this Julian. You have the Ballman to add early aggression. Then both of them have a nice marksman who, wait a second, Cold World possibly in some trouble here. Easy Peasy down as well. Enhanced Chains gets the pop-up. Cold World able to flicker back and save his own life. But with the Sicilian, Andre may have a little bit of advantage when it comes to the late game. I'm just thinking, I think both teams brought a very well-balanced draft all around.
Yeah, but right now we do see, I want to say that Andre and the rest of the Simpsons kind of a little bit out of position, need to start making their way towards the turtle if we're going to have a little bit of a contention here.
Well, when we were looking at the picks and bans as well, Deuce Knights was really trying to target the marksman, so it felt right into place that they were doing it here. But
oh, Falling Star Moon comes in, promises very low, but the turtle goes over to Fallen. Simpsons get the first objective. Fleur trying to bring out this real manipulation. Newman on Blast comes down, stuns Fleur. Damien able to get away from Rose. Rose not able to do enough damage. Nobody goes down, so overall it is a win for the Simpsons.
Yeah, Simpsons able to get the turtle, but still just slightly behind Deuce Knights as far as farming is coming up. They're still able to maintain, still able to get their rotations in. So it's gonna be really interesting once or if they even start getting objectives here too, because they're still ahead and holding on to it.
They're only ahead though because they were looking at this Beatrix in the bottom lane. Sirius actually putting a lot of pressure on the Cold World. And look, I mean, we already see Rose down there as well. Fallen now might be responding, but it might be a 3v3 here. But the gold plating is missing almost all of it onto the gold tower here.
Most definitely might have a bit of a battle here, though. Fallen tries to get that engage. Sanguine Claws does lock Easy Peasy up, but he responds by getting the pop-up onto Fallen. Damien with the flicker, Newman on Blast, and Fallen wants to capitalize. Can't quite do it. Use the lethal counter, but it's just not enough damage. Nibiru's Passion comes out. Labels a little bit of DPS on a Damien, but everyone is still up. 3.5 minutes on a single death on the board.
Yeah, not a single death on the board either. We're starting to see some decent rotations on the side of Deuce Knights. Dyroth is clearing his lane very quickly, but there needs to be something that needs to happen here. Pretty soon, Dyroth is going to start falling off. The laning phase is going to be over, and Dyroth does not shine in team fights. He needs to find those single pickoffs. He needs to be able to dominate Promise and make something happen here, and I just don't see the Simpsons right now doing enough, and Andre in a little bit of trouble here at mid lane.
Yeah, putting in a lot of pressure here. And again, like I see where T-Rex was coming from, you know, stating that both teams kind of have a little bit of a balance. But I mean, even having a great balanced team, we are still seeing Deuce Knights being able to hit those micros, secure a lot of gold, and I think it comes down to all of the lanes. But we got the turtle going on here.
Big pop up on a Promise. Promise able to get away though. Newman on Blast, cocked, ready to go. Lands on a Hikaru, followed up by the Falling Star Moon. Hikaru will be able to get away with this with a sliver of health. Ooh. Turtle goes to the side of the Simpsons, and Fallen drops. Turtle for the life of your jungler. Promise could be next. Brought very low. Easy Peasy on the hunt. Decides not to go for the dive. Sitting here, waiting, gonna come in. Promise almost gets knocked up. Easy Peasy wants to go again. Will he try for round 2? Decides not to. Let's get back to this gold crab and back to the pathing.
Yeah, you had your opportunity there. Smart move there. Just turn around and leave. I know how frustrating that is to have somebody at like 1 health be able to get away there. But man, the focus on the Simpsons there, unfortunately, all on Hikaru, while you saw Fallen able to get the turtle, but then gets taken out there because they were so focused on the XP laner instead of the jungler. So a great maneuverability there on the side of Deuce Knights.
Yeah, and looking at all of the lanes, kind of what I was talking about before the turtle went down, we're seeing pretty much everybody on the side of Deuce Knights. They have at least 200 to 100 more gold than their counterpart on the Simpsons. So to be honest, Deuce Knights are making me eat my words right now. They're kind of putting the beat down right now and controlling a lot of the lanes here, Private.
Yeah, and we do see them kind of trying to reset here, really not able to make something too much happen here. I feel like as soon as these towers start opening, as soon as we have Deuce Knights or the Simpsons able to start invading in these jungles, we're going to start having more problems. Cold World still getting kind of held back right now. Still is able to pick up what we have. Oh my God, and Promise so quickly gets taken out there at the top lane.
Yeah, now they're trying to do something down at the turtle pit. Nice wild charge. Damien does go down. Cold World taking a couple shots. Sirius comes in, tries to clean it up. Exile Rose will get that pickup. Rose does not pay the price for it as well. That passive coming in clutch. Just enough defense to not let that basic attack take him out.
You know, we got to give it up to Fleur here. Absolutely putting that real world manipulation right where the team needs it every single time so far. And all of the first tier towers go down in that one engagement. Now you're looking at a sizable gold difference right now. That could make it or break it. We were looking at the items earlier, but I think maybe Hikaru's in knee deep.
Yeah, watch for Damien here, though. Gonna try to come in. Gets a stun on a Hikaru. Promise can't do a whole lot. He knows that right now. Easy Peasy gets a knock up. Hikaru looking for the re-engage, but Easy Peasy doesn't even need it. Taking this easy as he tries to stride his team to victory. Down on the boss side, still nothing major. 4-0 on the board.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they were the side of the Deuce Knights was doing a great job of trying to shut down the Clint and make sure that he wasn't able to farm properly. We do have a wall here and a little bit of engagement.
Sanguine Claws does lock Rose up. He uses a wild charge to try to disengage, but Fallen doesn't want to let him get away. Uses that lethal counter, but is gonna pay for his life. Gonna pay with his life. Sirius trying to come in and get some more out of that. A jungler for a roamer. A good trade for Deuce Knights.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I don't know if I can say it enough. You guys were saying Hikaru.
Oh my God, Easy Peasy comes to the side. No, Hikaru comes in, but gets caught up by that Numenon Blast. Trying to take a little too much, a little too early. Will lose his life.
Yeah, and back to what I was saying, you know, Hikaru is what you guys were kind of pointing out here, but I'm seeing Fleur and more combat.
I think that's it. You can keep going. We can keep it up.
Hey, you never know with Deuce Knights, man. You've seen Easy Peasy go wild and just, you know, chase down it. But like I was saying, though, Hikaru's looking good. Not as well as Fleur, though, right now. Fleur's pretty much putting down as much assist as their tank. And look at this real world manipulation coming out.
Yeah, the real manipulation does come out. Damien gets knocked up. Damien will go down. Rose helping keep that front line secure, but as you said, Fleur has just been on fire.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I kind of question. I mean, when you have this type of team that you're going up against, you saw Cold World did collect that endless battle first, and I probably would have preferred maybe a rushed BOD on his side, because while that will help against the tankier heroes, he's doing absolutely nothing to this Beatrix, doing nothing to Easy Peasy, and they have a squishier lineup, so it's not like he really needs a lot of that true damage. It's mostly the squishier heroes that he's having a problem with, and right now they're kind of punished. They're paying for it because now they're waiting for the scale on that Sicilian. They're waiting for the scale on Promise and the sets from Damien, and while Cold World has to join them kind of in the late game.
Oh, go for it, you guys.
When you're behind like that, you know, it's hard to make the call, right? And he also just went into this Berserker's Fury instead of the BOD, which I'm a big fan of the endless battle bod, especially if like you have some squishier heroes. You don't need the crit damage that much. You don't need the penetration that much. You don't need the true damage. You just need some raw attack power. But because he's behind, he has to make that call like, do I just go to the Berserker's Fury first? It's a little bit cheaper. I can secure an item a little bit earlier and try to be a bit more prominent. So those small calls could either change, make or break this game and his damage output for the rest of it.
And we are seeing a pretty big push here. I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do here. And again, I think this is going to have to come down to it's going to have to come down to turtle and up. You don't have any towers on the side of Deuce Knights. Now your objective to be able to secure objectives is going to be a lot harder. So Fallen is kind of falling off. And we got the Lord coming in, T-Rex.
Yeah, luckily it's not a Luminous Lord. Damien with the Numenon flicker, but Easy Peasy in the back line gets a huge knockup. Andre goes down. Easy Peasy still on a roll. Fallen goes goes down, and it is a full team wipe. Sirius picks up the triple to help clean things up, destroys the tower onto the base, and Deuce Knights take game 1.
My gosh.
How often do you see a non-luminous lord push that ends the game? GG to Deuce Knights for such a dominating performance.
Yeah, and you know what I'm seeing contribute to that is that Fleur was just able to do whatever they wanted whenever they wanted. You know, like there was not an Esmeralda. I didn't see Hop in there. Promise was never there. Andre never being able to hit the same win claws on him. And again, I was saying it throughout the whole match. I'm giving the MVP to Fleur.
Fleur definitely played a great game too. 0-8, was able to, just make that area for their team to fight on, but easy peasy as well on that Julian, just strutting his stuff. Like, I said in the very beginning, he's one of the few players in the league right now who are still focusing hard, who can still make that assassin jungle work well, that all damage, bursty, flashy jungle work well, and he definitely showed it tonight. Hikaru, not the greatest game, but was able to hold his own in the EXP lane, and even though he wasn't able to capitalize like Private wanted in that early stages, he still was able to just, keep the pace with the rest of his team.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of pressure on the marksman lane here. Cold World, he didn't die. He was very good about his positioning, but in some of those engagement was forced to kind of to go back home and recharge, which took away a lot of his gold in the early game here. I mean, still kind of showing how great he is on that marksman by still getting the MVP, only suffering 2 deaths here. But man, the focus on that lane really kind of offset this game because it took away the only real tool that the side of Simpsons had for that early game. I mean, and maybe it might have also come down to kind of focus as well of who these guys were actually focusing on. That first turtle attack, you saw a lot of the team starting to focus on to Hikaru, trying to bring him down while the rest of their team was kind of getting taken out, and especially Fallen getting taken down there as well. Hikaru managed to get an escape. They lost Fallon for it, so maybe a little bit on the calling of which targets should really be going down there during those objectives.
Yeah. And well, another big thing I want to point out, and probably be my last thing here, is that if we're looking at Rose and Fleur, they both had 91% team participation, which to me, from just seeing that, means that they were roaming together nonstop. That shows you how well a tank and a mage are actually going and being together and putting in a lot of work.
Most definitely. Now, we will have to figure out, though, can the Simpsons come out? Deuce Knights just had one hell of a game there, right? We're going to jump back to this caster's desk. What can the Simpsons do to come back here, Private?
I feel like we need to have all of our players need to have a specific job when it comes to these objectives, whether it's zoning out the enemy team, whether it's calling a specific target that everybody jumps on. There needs to be one team, one fight there, because I see a lot of different priorities going on during these team fights. And right now, amazingly enough, Deuce Knights is like a well-oiled machine. We saw it last night. We're seeing it again here tonight. They know what their objectives are. They know what their win conditions are. As soon as they start taking objectives, they keep moving on. They don't spend too much time lingering and looking for a kill in the gold lane. You saw easy peasy go down there, try to make something happen. Didn't happen. Boom, they're gone. They're moving on to the next lane to try to make something happen. And I feel like the Simpsons are kind of getting lost during some of these fights. They don't seem like they have the right the direction, or just not that everybody's following the same direction. And that's what you're going to need, because they had a decent comp. It was not a bad comp by any means. They just were not attacking where they needed to win these team fights.
Yeah, I would say with the with the Sicilian and the Clint, they did have a lot of late game possibilities, right? And then even Ballman's gonna end up being a bit tankier, be able to sustain a bit for that back line. And I think they had a game plan. They just weren't able to execute it out. They weren't able to keep up with the pressure that Deuce Knights brought in that mid. Like once that 6 minutes hit, Easy Peas was all over the place. We saw 3 towers go down in like 5 seconds. Once they got that one big play, they were just able to open up the map and roll forward. Simpsons, if they want to continue with a strategy and a composition like they just brought, they either, need to counterplay in some opposite lanes, make some things happen, or just defend a little bit faster on the pace, be able to target down certain champions a little bit better. Fleur was pretty much able to put down those real manipulations any way she wanted, anytime she wanted, and there just was no stopping her.
Yeah, and to me, it seemed like the Simpsons kind of flew and kind of fell into the flow of Deuce Knights versus, maybe the Simpsons setting the flow. So I think it definitely came down to it. I did predict that the Deuce Knights wanted to actually end this game early, and they ended it early. And again, like T-Rex was saying, I felt like the Simpsons needed to be a little, if you're not going to set the flow, you need to be a little bit more passive. You got to control those lanes. Don't let the other team out micro you.
It also might just be a problem with that Beatrix pick. I mean, they were constantly needing to spend resources to go down there, and then Clint would have to back out again. Once you saw a lot of those marksmen going out, you should have immediately known the Beatrix pick was coming. And then if you didn't have a plan for Beatrix, you probably need to think about taking her out there. It might come down to allowing some picks. Like we've said it before, it gets to a point where we have both Valentina. We saw it last night where both Valentina and Faramis were open toward the end of the banning phase. Unfortunately for that's when Ackerman decided to ban only Valentina and let Faramis through. But at that point, you can maybe start letting some of those through, maybe to let both of them through so that you have a counter to something. But I feel like we need to do more with what we have. Like I said, XP lane, Esmeralda getting dominated by Dairoth, but they weren't doing anything with it. There wasn't enough rotations from Dairoth there. He was cutting the lane, but not in fast enough so that he could join his team for team fights. So, and that only lasts until mid game. By mid game, Esmeralda comes back. This is for the entire team. You know what I mean? Like you need to take these advantages that you have and use them, push with them, because at this level of play right now, all these teams take every second, whether they take 1 minion of yours in the jungle, whether they cut your lane, whether we saw it last night. When they get the turtle, freaking the Valley immediately charges for the enemy team because they know they have an advantage and they want to force a team fight. And that's what you have to do. Be proactive here into some of these fights.
Most definitely. So let's see if the Simpsons can pull this off, because if they lose this here, you're out of the playoffs. Let's see if they can stretch it out one more game. Be proactive. Come in and try to step up from the mistakes they made in that last game. They are on the gun here. They're going to have first pick, first ban G.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this comes back to what we've been saying all season. Are they going to set up for the Beatrix, or are they going to get rid of the Beatrix? They're already out of the water, going for the Julian. So that to me seems like they're not going to want to pick Julian first. So we're looking at that. Julian, you've seen what he did last game. So it's kind of, they don't want Julian, and they also respect how Easy Peasy was playing that Julian.
Most definitely. And the Julian is in the hands of Easy Peasy, the Julian is dangerous. And the Julian has always been kind of dangerous. I think he's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes he gets banned, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he's prio picked, sometimes he's not. But I think when Easy Peasy is on the field, you have to keep him in the forefront of your mind, right? Masha getting banned from the side of Deuce Knights here, and now we're waiting to see what the Simpsons pick ban as well.
Yeah, we do see that the wand wanted to take it out of there. We're not really focusing down these marksmen again because I think the side of Deuce Knights know they will lose that exchange because they're going to give up something they don't want and not have enough in return for this first pick. And it's going to be something interesting too. A lot of teams like to favor that second pick, like to favor a reply to the enemy when they have that first pick. Not here though. The Simpsons wanted first pick here. I think they have something in mind here. We do see the Valentina. I mean, how many times do we have to go over it? But Valentina, just a menace out there with how much she can do in so many different ways, including one of the most important parts, I think, is it makes your enemy have to think about the ult that they're giving you there. So they definitely don't want that on the team. And I mean, the bans, yeah, the Diggy coming out there, it's going to be interesting here because I think rather than the bans, it's the same ones that we usually see. I want to see how how we're gonna do with some of these picks and how they go into each other.
Yeah, and Simpsons now on the gun, wondering, are they gonna pick up the Beatrix? You mentioned the Akai being open right now, and I'm wondering if that's part of Deuce Knights' ideas here, right? Like, the Akai goes over, we know Sirius is gonna be brought right up into that Beatrix echo.
I was actually, I seen the Diggy ban. I knew the Akai was what they wanted from the side of the Simpsons. But it's making me second question, like, what do they have to respond against to that Bia? Because we just seen, I mean, it wasn't like Bia made or broke that game, but she did in the early game secure that gold lead. So I feel like just having that little bit of a gold lead is insane. Now they picking up the Balmon. Deuce Knights that says, let me show you how to play a Balmon.
It's our showtime.
A really interesting thing about the Balmon into it, which is this is confidence, possibly a cocky pick by Easy Peasy, because I feel like a Belmont is very easily countered by Akai. With his first dash ability, he's able to pop Belmont on, stops him spinning, stops him from his lethal counter, interrupts both of those abilities, which are the bread and butter of any Belmont user. But Easy Peasy is saying here he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the heavy spin. He knows he can get around it. So probably a big boy pick there by Easy Peasy. Is right now I'm seeing a lot of late game on the Simpsons again, and we need something to I want to say hold off this early engagements that we're definitely going to be seeing with a Belmont on the side of Deuce Knights.
Yeah, last night we saw the Valley pick up something like, the Akai jungle, and then even the Grok as your tank, just heavy CC, something like that from the Simpsons could work here, right? And it would be the thing they need to hold off that heavy aggression from this Ballman, to hold off the possible invasions coming from the Simpsons here. I don't think they should pick up something like, like a Raph here, some sort of support jungler, pick up something bulky, something that can really just keep them away, some high CC. Like, I think the Grok could work well here. Maybe even get spicy with the Kufra or something like that. Something to just, keep space away from Deuce Knights here, and let your gold laner scale, and let whatever mage they pick, maybe something bursty like an Xavier, to also be able to fire shots in the back line.
Yeah, and I'm still on the line of what type of comp they're trying to go with, because I mean, other than the Kai and the Esmeralda is still there. We've seen the Esmeralda. Hikaru was able to sustain, keep his lane up, and not lose to an Esmeralda, which a Dairoth should be able to do. But Hikaru did it very well. So again, why didn't they not go for maybe a Dairoth ban inside of there? And it's just kind of like one of those situations to see what they want to go with. But I don't think they should have just let the Dairoth pick go through like that.
Yeah, real interesting here. Actually, well, I assume maybe they saw something in them, because it was promised on the Dairoth last game. So, and maybe he thought it was just a weaker pick because he went up against Hikaru's. Wait, was it?
Hikaru had the Dairoth. Hikaru
had the Dairoth. So he's still thinking that that he can kind of overpower, but you need to. I don't know. There's going to need to be some support up there because he wasn't having a fun time last game with it. We do see that the Linux is coming out here, a great counter for one of those more tankier compositions that you get, the amount of sustain that she has, and her ability to dodge abilities, to dodge incoming ganks with that brilliance ultimate there. So a good pickup on the side of Deuce Knights here. We're going to see what the Simpsons have to answer. I mean, right now we're kind of look like we're getting countered away from those thicker bully type compositions here. We do have Fallen still on the team, but maybe a little bit more mobility might help us. But we do need some early game as well. And I do like that we're floating over a Selena for that as well.
Yeah, oh, Selena Mage, and then still the Lolita tank. You know, I'm questioning that right there. That's something I'm questioning a little bit. I'm not against it. I think it does bring in some early aggression, as you said, Private, but now I don't like that balance personally. I just feel like she could fall off. Like if she messes, if Andre, a lot of pressure's on Andre right here. If that Selena messes up, gets caught off, and she's got to dive into a Ballman, she's got to try to take out a Brilliance Lunox. You know, her only easy target is gonna be Sirius. And now with Rose picking up this Ruby, it's gonna be even harder for her to get in and out here.
It's gonna be harder for Lolita to even be able to hit a Numeon Blast because Ruby is a complete counter to that. So now you're looking at very good control by the side of Deuce Knights, great damage, and we're kind of seeing, unless like you were saying, if Andre cannot hit these Abyssal Arrows or even get that burst damage going, it could smell trouble for the Simpsons. I mean, we're just looking at a tough comp here. It's kind of relying on the Abyssal Arrows and then, of course, the Claude as well here.
Yeah, so let's see if the Simpsons can do this as we move into Game 2. Best of 3 Simpsons going up against Deuce Knights. The losers of this will go home tonight, and the winners will move on to the finals of the bottom bracket.
Yeah, this is absolutely one of these games that Simpsons need to grab the momentum and hold on to it right from the beginning of the game. The moment you start losing that focus, the moment you come from behind, Selena might as well be a minion. She cannot do enough from behind. So we're going to see how much pressure they can keep on, especially against a Belmont.
Yeah, and kind of looking at these comps and seeing what's going on here, I think it's gonna definitely come down to who's playing what. But
oh,
Ruby,
nice knock up onto Rose there. Andre with the flicker in, able to take him out. Fallen coming up as well. Hikaru's here to take out Fallen though, and Hikaru gives that kill over to the side of Easy Peasy. Promise a little late to that rotation. A nice 1-for-1 trade. Deuce Knights pick up where they almost lost.
Oh, easy peasy. Nah, I don't think he's gonna be in here. He's definitely gonna get out with no problem. What we're seeing though, I mean, what we're seeing from the Simpsons, that was a great call to be able to control and keep their own jungle, and I feel like that's what they need to do here. But Cold World at the top kind of being bullied, and again, this is kind of what we've seen from last time. And then this is where the Deuce Knights make the Simpsons go to their flow, not the Simpsons setting the flow here, Private.
Yeah, unfortunately, even with the opening created by Andre, able to get that kill, the rest of the team not on the same page with that disengagement, as Fallen was able to get captured there. So you turn a possible momentum into kind of a stalwart there, as they got stalled in the middle, and now they're going to have to recreate that same type of magic as this next turtle comes up.
Yeah, and with Turtle now on the field, Hikaru's going to start working on it. Easy peasy coming in from his side of the jungle. Rose being a little bit of a wall, trying to stop Fallen from getting that heavy spin off. Does get the lockup. A heavy spin comes out. Fallen now pushing Easy Peasy back. Falling Star Moon comes in by Promise. Almost gets a kill. Brilliance comes out. Easy Peasy with a walk-away steal. Able to take that turtle just when it looked like they were out, but Hikaru doesn't want to stop now. Catches Fallen as he's trying to run away to the bot side.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a great falling star moon from Esmeralda, able to take down 3 members up there and kind of stall them out. But I feel like we lost some time with that as Fallen came in with the heavy spin when he probably could have saved that a little bit closer to taking the turtle. And then this is what I said. And then once the turtle is taken from them, I feel like everybody kind of went their different ways. And unfortunately, Fallen got caught by Hikaru there as well. So I mean, it's an interesting game right now, and they need to kind of get themselves back together because they are falling behind.
They're definitely falling behind. And again, we are seeing pretty much the same micro plays by the Deuce Knights as last time. They're able to control their lanes. They're forcing the Simpsons to leave their lanes, which then allowed them to get gold. Andre missing that abyssal arrow, which is not what we want to see from the side of the Simpsons.
And now Easy Peasy is coming in. Andre Damien forced back. But at this point, Deuce Knights feel comfortable after this laning phase. They feel comfortable moving into the mid game. Excited to see if the Simpsons can actually make a comeback here. Or are they going to keep letting this gold lead escape them?
Yeah, and right now, as there's 24 seconds left, we can see that Esmeralda does have her lane being taken and cut in by Hikaru, which means he is going to be able to rotate up for this first turtle. We can take a look at the items here. No real waves being made yet. We do see that we are starting to work on that Clock of Destiny for the side of Linux. They're getting ready for the big damage that she's going to be able to do, and then the mask on the Balmond right now. But Simpsons and Deuce Knights are getting ready to take this second turtle. Do they have enough to kind of counter this?
Fallen gets pulled in. Here comes the Numenon Blast. Turtle does go to Easy Peasy. The Numenon Blast does not land and Fallen though. Maybe able to take out Rose. Rose locks them all up, able to get away. Fleur though on the chase with that darkening. Coral goes down. Hikaru picks up the kill. Hikaru still hungry. Abyssal Strike onto Damien. Hikaru will not stop. Every time it looks like Simpsons are about to get the advantage, Deuce Knights call back harder.
Yeah, and this looks like the Hikaru you guys were talking about yesterday. We're looking good here, man. Keep it up. And we're seeing a full 5-man here in the mid lane. Takes that tower. Really great plays by Deuce Knights. They're making me eat my words, and I'm glad to see it, you know. From the side of the Simpsons, though, again, one of the biggest things that we're not seeing is that Andre's not able to land too many abyssal arrows that are going to be playing a factor here. But I think at the end of the day, it could be that we're seeing that it's not going to shine until maybe the mid game.
I'm offended. Does come down. Blazing Duet comes in as well, but the damage still is not there. Forced to battle mirror image away. A little bit of a conflict down here in the blue buff jungle. Fallen up against Easy Peasy, but Sirius is here to help out as well. Fleur also joining the battle. Side of Deuce Knights just waiting for a moment to strike. They know they have the advantage as Rose and Sirius cut this wave.
Yeah, right now, a Selena 1,000 gold behind the lowest member on the side of Deuce Knights. So it's, I mean, if we are not setting up these abyssal arrows, we need to figure out some type of plan. Maybe waiting for the Numenon Blast, then an abyssal arrow while you have a weakened and slowed teammate. But we do see a little bit of a flank here coming from the Deuce Knights.
And he does lock on to Cold World. He does still have the battle mirror, but Damien goes down. Sirius picks up the kill. Cold World trying to play the distance, get a little bit of poke. They don't want to give up this tower, but they know there's nothing they can do right now. Wait a second, count me out. Rose almost goes down, but they still can't pick it up. Rose is a hard target to take down right now.
Yeah, and this is the peel difference between how much gold control that Deuce Knights have. And I kind of want to contribute it to that we see that, you know, the turtle's going down here, and it does look like the side of the Simpsons picks that up. So maybe be able to give a little bit of reprieve, a little bit of breathing room, but we're going to have to see that come into play during team fights. I need abyssal arrows to hit. I need a Numenon Blast, actually. I'm pretty sure almost all of them have been canceled by Rose.
Here we go. I'm wondering if we're going to see anything major here, but I don't think so. Rose Gets hit by that arrow. Andre not going to have enough damage, I think, to take him down. Nose tries to back off, but it's too late because the I'm Offended does lock on. Newman on blast gets a big stun. Fleur finally goes down and fallen. Now chasing down Easy Peasy. Cold World wanting a piece of that. Serious, though, helping to peel, helping to keep Easy Peasy safe, and OSP moves back to their jungle.
Yeah, a good fight there, good focus as they were able to take down Fleur, but right after they took down Fleur, I started seeing their damage start spreading out again. You saw that the marksman started going for the Lethal Wanderer instead of focusing on that fight up at top, and this is what you need to continue. You need to keep on with this focus, keep on with that pressure, and everybody needs to be having the same target and the same mission in mind.
Yeah, and it definitely comes down to having that same mission and that same mindset. And I kind of wonder if maybe The Simpsons doesn't have a shot caller, because it seems like everybody is just everywhere. And I want to say it's the shot caller, but then again, I gotta give credit to Deuce Knights. They're putting in a lot of pressure and forcing The Simpsons to do what they want them to do.
Yeah, now with the side of the Simpsons trying to hang on here, we got a big gold lead on the side of Deuce Knights, about 5,000, and this is about where we saw them last time with the Lord coming up shortly. So, will they be able to clean up this Lord and end things just like they did last time?
Well, they are at about 2k gold loss right now. We do have the Golden Staff and Demon Hunter Sword on Claude, so all he needs is an opportunity for these fights. We need to get a little bit more organized. We are spread out a little thin. It's a 3v4 here at this Lord right now, as Cold World still trying to get those stacks. I mean, they're jockeying for position, and maybe they just need to be a little bit more patient. But you can see up at the top, Dyroth able to rotate so quickly. So now it's a 5v4.
Yeah, now Lord is brought very low. Cold World with Blazing Duet trying to do something, but gets melted down. Serious picks up the kill, and the Lord goes to Easy Peasy to the side of Deuce Knights, and we are looking very similar to Game 1. Hikaru clearing up this wave. Deuce Knights trying to even things out and crash in, taking as much as they can.
Yeah, and going through my mind here, I'm just trying to see what possibly the Simpsons can do. They have the Lord barreling down, and I really feel like what's missing from the side of the Simpsons is damage. We're not seeing too much output. Selena's just picking up Clock of Destiny, does hit an Abyssal Arrow finally, but it's going to take time from the Simpsons, and they're going to have to do something to stop this.
Yeah, with Lord barreling down, as you said, will connect onto this tower. Heavy spin from Fallen there. The rest of the team still almost a full health Lord. Abyssal Arrows coming out, but not connecting onto anyone. Promise also sticking out those feelers. Fleur in the backside, Serious with the Nibiru's Passion. Does get hit by that arrow. Andre trying to capitalize. Newman on blast comes down, and everyone is stunned. OSP now on the chase. Hikaru on the run. Easy Peasy also being chased. Conceal play coming out. They're able to get the stun onto Fleur there. Brilliance try to survive. She uses the flicker to get past the wall, but Promise is onto her. Another Abyssal Arrow lands, and Fleur goes down. OSP now coming back, a 3-man takedown, and they may be able to open up this map, may be able to make a slight comeback off this response.
Yeah, and that already, nice stun landed there.
Yeah, Easy Peasy. Promise is chasing it. Another Abyssal Arrow comes out. Easy Peasy gets away safely, but the tower does not.
Well, and this is positive for the side of the Simpsons. The reason that happened is because they were forced to act as a team, because they all were forced to kind of clamor around mid with the same target, the same mission in mind to defend, and they did that so well. We know the Simpsons have this ability when they are working together. It's just that in the fray of some of these team fights, they're having problems all gathering on one target.
Yeah, and all gathering on one target is what they did there, and it was a really good play. We're seeing now the Abyssal Arrows connecting from the side of the Simpsons. A lot of the CC that they have on their essentially their draft here was coming into play there, and we're seeing that the arrows are now connecting. And I want them to keep this up. They now have breathing room, and maybe they can come back.
Yeah, gold almost, I mean, the gold lead's still about 4,000 into the hands of Deuce Knights, but it's starting to feel like it's not as big. Down on the boss side, though, Promise is getting cut off. Sirius here, dashes through the wall, picks up the kill, and moves right back to what he was doing. Lord will be up in 8 seconds. Will the Simpsons try to contest this, or will they just go for a defensive strategy again?
Yeah, and that's the big question here of how we can actually use this. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of Selena rotating by herself because there's really not much that she can do. She does not have the clearing ability, doesn't have the laning presence that she needs. She definitely can't be doing anything against more than one opponent down there, but she is down there by herself right now as we're trying to make something happen for this Lord, and a heavy spin comes in.
Oh, Damien tries to use the Numenon Blast, not quite able to connect. Easy peasy, almost going down. Rose does pay the price. Sirius, though, here to clean things up with the dash, takes out Fallen. Next may be Cold World, but he's able to BMI away. Now Fleur, Sirius, easy peasy, all still wanting to contest for this Lord. The problem is Cold World and Andre still have full bars of health. The rest of their team is not there to back up. No retribution on the side of the Simpsons, so easy peasy feels like he has the advantage. Falling Star Moon does land on a Sirius, bringing him down to about a quarter. Brilliance comes out to zone away Cold World and Andre, but the Lord falls and goes to Deuce Knights. Promise now running away. Andre at least able to catch something in the midst of this battle, taking out Fleur with an abyssal arrow.
And you got to give it up to the Simpsons. They're definitely giving a fight, and they are not giving up. But they do lose the Lord a second time here, and it does look like Deuce Knights kind of hold out to, you know, recop and push with this Lord.
Yeah, and even during that fight, you saw a lot of damage going on to the Lord from Cold World there, even though they had fallen down. And you had a Belmont up that you were fighting as well. So why even damage the Lord when you know the quicker it goes down, the easier it's going to be for Easy Peasy to pick off. Put the damage onto the enemy team, focus on them. If you can't focus on them, get back and regroup, because you're not going to be able to make something happen and might actually cost your team a little bit more. But another engagement here.
Oh, nice pin on Hikaru. Next will be Easy Peasy. He's forced to run away. Lord now getting chipped away. Inhibitors still standing. OSP putting up a valiant defense, trying to survive, trying to drag this game on to where maybe they can find the moment to strike back. But minions are still crashing. Promise forced to go up to that top lane. Abyssal Arrow falls a little bit wide, not able to land onto Sirius. Deuce Knights at this point are disengaging. They are going to keep on continuing to pick away at the pickings of OSP's jungle and freeze up these lanes.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm looking at here is that we're seeing Cold World carrying the side of the Simpsons. Already at almost 11k gold, putting in a lot of work, picked up the Demon Hunter, picked up the Malfish's Roar, picking up some serious damage, and that is forcing the side of Deuce Knights to have to back off. They're going to need their whole team to now fight the Simpsons here, and I feel like, you know, the Simpsons might be pulling into the reins here.
Yeah, and this is the problem with a Selena pick as a mage. You are really banking on hitting those abyssal arrows. If you can't, then you have effectively isolated one of two only damages on your team there. And now we can see, look at, there's nothing to stop them as they are charging in and breaking through the lines of the Simpsons here.
They do take something. They pick up that tower in the bottom lane. I don't think they really wanted that fight. Fallen a little bit on the side there. Maybe waiting for a moment to come in from behind. But that moment didn't happen. So they disengage, collect themselves, lord up in 20 seconds.
And I mean, 20 seconds is a decent amount of time. It allows them to set up, and we can see that from the side of the Deuce Knights. And what we need to see, though, is we need to see some roaming. We need to see a little bit of map control. Vision is quite lacking, and Damien just doesn't want to go in. But we do see a stun on Easy Peasy. I don't know if it's gonna be enough, though. And we can see a Hikaru trying to control that bottom lane. I see a backdoor play, but I don't know. Here's T-Rex.
Yeah, the Lord is down to about 50%. Andre does land that Abyssal Arrow. Fallen now looking for a moment to maybe get a nice heavy spin on. Comboed up with the Numenon Blast. Rose does get stunned, but able to get away. Blazing Duet comes out. Hikaru brought very low, but the Lord goes to Deuce Knights once again as Sirius picks up where he left off. Fallen, Promise, Damien, all down at the hands of Deuce Knights. It is a 4v2. Lord coming soon to a movie near you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're even going to wait for the Lord. They know they have the advantage. They know they have the numbers. There's not really too much that is stopping them here right now, especially with the tank presence. And here it comes.
Oh, Bism strike to help clear things up, followed up by the skills of Flurry. Easy peasy gets that kill. It's a full team wipe. Minions on the base. Deuce Knights turn this into a 2-0 sweep.
Yeah, the big story here is how dominant and where they placed this draft for the side of Deuce Knights. They have been such an organized and synergized team coming into the lower bracket. It's just been some amazing games. Unfortunately, exploiting those weaknesses in the draft there, like I said, Selena, a great roam because you don't need to depend on those abyssal arrows. You can wait, you can log them out during team fights with no real problem. But if you have her as a mage, you've essentially taken the spot of a real damage dealer, of a real CC that doesn't need to land these freaking abyssal arrows from like a mile away to really be effective. And like I said, the moment you fall behind on a Selena, you really take her feet out from underneath her, and there's not much that you're going to be able to do there. But man, what a great game by Deuce Knights. Barely even a scratch on them. Hikaru, man, handling his lane like we've been seeing here. Probably one of the biggest highlights for me on the Deuce Knights so far is how he's been able to handle this, because not just hammering into the Esmeralda, cutting lanes though, getting back in time for these team fights, rotating for these objectives, making sure that all of these fights that Simpsons hoped to have were at the very least outnumbered.
Yeah. And I kind of think it comes down to a little bit of the draft as well, like, of course, the players did exceptional. Hikaru, you guys were saying it, absolutely beautiful. But I actually, I got to give it up to Rose. Rose absolutely countered that Lolita hard, which is, it essentially made the Simpsons not have a tank. And the Selena was pretty much the only thing given vision for the side of the Simpsons.
Yeah, I think the Ruby was definitely kind of a clutch pick. Not something we see all the time now, but it worked well. It worked well at locking up Promise when he tried to come in. It worked well at Andre. Andre had to be careful if she wanted to dash in and chase after someone that she landed that abyssal arrow on. It was just something that, we don't see the roam Ruby very often anymore. It was very popular for a small amount of time there, but now it comes in at these niche spots, and even then, sometimes it fails. But Rose, yes, she's sitting at a silver right now, but I definitely agree that she was a backbone for her team.
Yeah, especially since there wasn't much that you can do as far as an abyssal arrow that landed. When you landed on Rose, you can't even try to take advantage, even if Rose is bad or Rose is low, because then you have so much CC to contend with that you're not going to be getting out as a Selena. So a great pick, a great thought process there by the side of Deuce Knights, and they're going to be moving on. Unfortunately, this ends the road for the Simpsons. However, Deuce Knights have a world of trouble ahead of them, because they say what type of animal is the most dangerous? It's a cornered animal, and that's what I feel is Ackerman right now.
Yeah, Ackerman are definitely in a spot right now, but before we talk too much about that, Simpsons, GG's, well played. You've made it, they made it pretty far. They got a good position. I think a lot of people didn't expect this from them. They were able to put on a valiant effort and made it farther than a lot of other teams here, right? So I think that we got to bid them their dues, but Deuce Knights, I feel confident in the way they're going to deal with Ackerman coming up. So let's get back to the caster's desk, because I'm definitely excited to talk about that. Coming up at 9 p.m., we got a little bit of time to kill, so we might as well talk it up a little bit, right? Ackerman versus Deuce Knights. How do you guys feel about it?
I got to give it up to Deuce Knights. I mean, They were sometimes, you know, not well oiled, but to be honest, I gotta say they're pretty well oiled, and whatever change they've made definitely has been changing tides here.
That's interesting to me too, because I feel like something happened. We've got the same roster, but I don't know if Captain America was giving speeches in the background, but this is like a different team for Deuce Knights right now, with how synergized they are, how these drafts are going, and then how these plays are coming in and how they're working out there with their rotations. It's like a completely different team. However, we've already seen the Deuce Knights Ackerman story in chapter 1. They did lose in a sweep to Ackerman, so it's gonna be a hard uphill battle for Deuce Knights. Like I said, I don't even feel like this is the same team we saw last week that was having the issues, or I think it was 2 weeks ago, that was having the issues with Ackerman. So we're gonna see how well they're able to play into it. However, Ackerman did suffer a very harsh loss to the Valley. Not just beat, but swept by the Valley. So you know they're coming here with something to prove.
Most definitely coming with something to prove. And Ackerman, you couldn't have said it better. Cornered animal, right? They just lost bad to the Valley, and they're in a spot now where it's like, man, we really had high hopes for this. We really wanted this, and we kind of looked foolish, right? I'm not saying they did, but that's like the feelings you get when you get 3-0'd, right? So now it's like, okay, we can't lose to Deuce Knights. We have to beat Deuce Knights. We have to try to get back to that top finals, best of 7, and prove ourselves to this Goliath of the Valley, but Deuce Knights as well. Deuce Knights has never won a championship. You have people on Ackerman that have gotten... Area 77 has won previous NACTs. They've won previous NASLs, and I know this is a new team, but you have players like Zia who have gone to M3, who have gotten some of these things under their belt, but Deuce Knights is this team who just hasn't made it yet, hasn't made the cut, has not been able to be at the top of the food chain, and right now, they want that. Even if they don't beat the Valley, getting to second place on these playoffs, beating Ackerman right here, making it through the bottom bracket all the way back to the top is a huge statement in itself, and I think Deuce Knights want to be able to say that tonight.
Yeah, and I always say it, man, and it's kind of like something I say a lot, you know, and I might not say it a lot on here, but you put in the time, you get that dime, you know, and we're seeing that from Deuce Knights. They're putting in a lot of time. We might not see it. They might be doing a lot of work off tournament, and I mean, it's showing.
Yeah, right now, the interesting thing is about this last match is this kind of off-the-wall Ruby pick to kind of counter that Selena pick, and that's honestly, that's shades of what Ackerman did to Deuce Knights in their first series, is they were able to counter Deuce Knights' draft with some of these very outside-the-meta picks from them. We saw the Boxia come out there. I forgot who else it was, but I know we were kind of shocked when we saw it. Barats was out there as well, where Ackerman used the Barats, the Franco, all of these picks to kind of hone in on the Wan to kind of make sure that she's able to get her weakness stacks, that she has enemies who are slowed, enemies who are CC'd, enemies who are suppressed, all just these easy pickings for a Wan. But that's what we're going to need to see from Deuce Knights if they want to be successful here. They've shown right now that they do have the game knowledge, they do have the intelligence to kind of go outside that box to pick something for a counter. But do we have the game knowledge to use that, all of this stuff in the drafting phase, but form a very competent composition on our side as well? And that's going to be the real question here.
Yeah, I think one thing Deuce Knights has done very well at, something that they've completely changed gears at over the past 3 months, is they do pick up that pick, which Ackerman is also known for, like, you know, the Barats pick. Like, both teams are known to, when they need to, bring in that clutch pick that works as a great counter that you had to think outside of the box a little bit for. But Deuce Knights also keeping it, have been, like, recently, they've been just playing it by the book, you know, really prioritizing the Beatrix as we saw in the last series, really prioritizing some of those overpowered heroes, some people would say. And whether you disagree or agree, the numbers say it, right? They know what works for every team, right? They know what's valued, and they know how to value certain heroes. I think Ackerman, we saw last night, kind of didn't do that. They tried to be too outside of the box, right? So I think that could be the advantage. If Ackerman comes in the same way that they drafted last night, you know, maybe a little too big brain, maybe a little too different, then it could spell danger, because Deuce Knights is gonna, I think they're gonna come in keeping it simple, keeping it by the book, what's been working for them, and that could steal the win. If I gave it to skill, I think Ackerman may have a little bit of a higher skill level in some of the micro plays, some of the lane holding, some of the laning phase, and then even with those Lord pushes. But Deuce Knights has been showing up in the draft in these past couple series they've played, so I gotta give that side to them right now after what we saw from Ackerman last night.
Yeah, you know, I missed that game, but I've heard kind of what went down, you know, and I kind of agree with you, T-Rex. You know, they have the skill, the players have the tenacity to do what they need to do, but they might be thinking a little bit too much out of the box. Just come back to the foundations, you know, kind of like what we were seeing from the side of Deuce Knights right now going against the Simpsons. We've seen that every time that the Simpsons picked a hero, they kind of countered it with what like fit into their team comp. And you know, I got to give it up to them for having that ability to do that, because in the end, it comes down to how big your hero pool is.
Well, I mean, right now the Simpsons, I feel like there was a little hesitation. Like I said, there was a little sloppiness maybe on who they were picking as a target when they were rotating. These lanes were getting pushed in. They didn't have enough support to kind of form a very cohesive strategy when it came to these objectives. They were late. They were getting beat out in their lanes. They were getting duoed on the gold lane. They were getting outdone by a Dyroth on the XP lane. So when it came to these objectives, we had a late start there. Not just a late start from them, but also the side of Deuce Knights was able to, as soon as the turtle came up, whoever was in that lane was already in a position to start grabbing that turtle and bringing it to their side. Even before Deuce Knights were ready to actually start on the turtle. It's those little things, those little macro plays that make the world of difference, because when they were ready to start on the turtle was already on Deuce Knights' side, because the lane was winning. The lane was able to make those moves over there, and that is and unfortunately they are not going to have that same type of I want to say a lackadaisical type of play. They're not going to have a team that is going to allow that in Ackerman. Ackerman are known for their rotations. They're great players. They're great drafters. If you want to go and against them and beat them, you're going to have to take this to another level. What you were doing to the Simpsons, you're going to have to bring that up. You're going to have to be crisp, because they still, Deuce Knights were still making some mistakes. They still did get caught a few times, but that's those times that they get caught, they were able to kind of come back. They were able to kind of maneuver around it. With Ackerman, you're not going to have that. Every single death that they're going to take, they're going to find an opening and they're going to push through it. This is why you're going to need to be tight on all of this, and that includes the rotations. I saw, like I said, these rotations were on. They were on fire from Deuce Knights, and they need to keep that up against Ackerman.
Yeah, so we've said our part. Let us know what you guys think in the chat. Who's going to take this final match tonight? Ackerman or Deuce Knights? We'll be back very shortly, so take a second. We'll be back in about 15 minutes with this game ready to go. Use the bathroom, charge your phone, do whatever you need to do, because we'll see you guys in the draft coming up soon.
There it is, guys. That is picture perfect right here.
Middle, Craxy and Hate all alone. Can they defend this push, or are we gonna see the sweep for the final? Ziggy flashes in, able to get the stun. Craxy in the back line, does some nice damage. Immortality comes up right under the ultimate of Japanese, and now Hate all alone, not able to defend off. New Wave will take this game. The death counters are just too high, and New Wave takes the champion. Feeling this out, the way the nice stun on the shark, Pokey doing a little damage, I feel so alive, it's like I'm held down and all the shit on my mind, feel like I'm living vibes. I lost touch with reality, that shit killed the vibe. Had me living like I ain't having shit, I'm just getting by. And I'm far from the illest guy, still I grind to get me on top, no ceiling tiles. Yeah, ain't no cap, this an enterprise. Know you feel the vibe, feeling blessed that I'm still alive. A huge play coming with reality. This shit got me forever free, and I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive, I'm going all out.
Just barely out of there by Supra. And they secure the kill on the fan. What a save! Secures the kill on him. Do we get a team wipe here? Do we get a team wipe?
Wait, there's a firefly locked on Gauss in the back line, but Sir Darcy will get suppressed and taken out first blood. Going to the side of Area 77, Nicolette keeps on coming in. The Marquis here. Yeah, I'm feeling so alive, I feel energized. I used to sit inside, let my feelings hide. Everything I despise, no reason given why. Now I thank God I'm alive, not doing prison time. Yeah, now I'm keeping all the bullshit aside to give me mine. Had to cut a lot of homies off, our goals just in the line. And that shit don't affect me, I was feeling fine. Still inspired to chase this fucking dream like the kid inside me. Lost touch with reality. This shit got me forever free, and I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive and going all out. Lost touch with reality. This shit got me forever free, and I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive and going all out. Now, Yeho coming in, doing a little bit of damage on the shark, but it looks like Team Sexy wants to forward a nice flicker kick, nice knock up, down goes Marquis to the major damage.
That Franco was really low. He was more focused on lane. We're seeing Uzi getting demolished. I think that was the best
and kind of have someone keeping vision, and we are seeing a bit of a pick on off the feet. That's what it looks like. We'll see Ziggy though getting caught up. Omega gets a stun. In comes Syndicate. He does use that petrify, but Ziggy is gonna go down. It's another kill there and do some sort of crazy play. But now he's taking some damage. He does cover it from Wait a second. Ziggy though chasing in, does have the ultimate way to use it. All the roads go down to there, trying to slow down, trying to take it really much damage. Let's go out the door. Down into the light now. Into the light now. Zia on the map. Zia taking some damage. In comes that ult.
The openings, they're not able to find those singles. With another find. With that ultimate, trying to make some space. Sharp with an Newman on blast. They are going to get the kill on the 8. Nice counterplay coming from Team Split's away to second. Best player with the Petrify. Sharp trying to Newman on blast. Will get stopped in his track. And a nice time offended on the Sharp. They get that tower. Now coming around the side of Ackerman there. With the Dark Lord. Coming on the Sharp. Right now, they're being punished for it because Insomniacs is just out
still able to get the kill on the best player. 3 members down, make that forward. Nicolette all alone, but they don't have any Starmoon though, but again, no one's able to stop this Newman on flag. It crashes down and Ruby gets the spin on the wall. Makes that this team fight. The disengage will most likely happen.
Welcome to the North American Squad League.
For those of you who are new, this is the first and currently only Mobile Legends League in all of North America.
A place where the top teams from the United States, Canada, and Mexico get to battle it out over the span of 10 weeks.
What are they battling for, you might ask? To start, 3,000 USD, 50,000 diamonds, but most of all, the right to say our team is the best.
It's been an amazing journey these past 2 seasons with teams like Area 77 and New Wave go home with the glory.
But as there will be 6 teams returning from previous seasons,
we do have some new faces coming in as well, and they look hungry.
For those of you loyal viewers who have been sticking with us through the past 2 seasons, we have to say thank you. And
for all of our new viewers, welcome to the show.
We hope you enjoy.
There it is, guys.
That is picture perfect right here.
Middle, Craxy and Hate all alone. Can they defend this push, or are we going to see the sweep for the final? Ziggy flashes in, able to get the stun. Craxy in his back line, does some nice damage. Immortality comes up from right under the ultimate of Japanese, and now Hate all alone, not able to defend off. New Wave will take this game. The death counter is just too high, and New Wave takes the champion. Feeling this out, the way the nice stun on the Shark, doing a little damage to the
I feel so alive, it's like I'm heading down. All this shit on my mind, I feel like I'm heading vibes. I lost touch with reality, that shit killed the vibe. Had me living like I ain't having shit, I'm just getting by. And I'm far from the endless sky, still I grind to keep me on top, no ceiling tiles. Ain't no cap, this an enterprise. Know you feel the vibes, feeling blessed that I'm still alive.
Lost touch with reality. This shit got me forever free. And I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive, I'm going all out.
Just barely out there by Supra. And they secure the kill on the fan. What a set! Secures the kill on him. Do we get a team wipe here? Do we get a team wipe?
Wait, there's a fire lock on Gals in the back line. But Sir Bossy will get suppressed and taken out first blood. Going to the side of Area 77, Nicolette keeps on coming in. Marquez here.
Yeah, I'm feeling so alive, I feel energized. I used to sit inside, let my feelings hide. Everything I despise, no reason given why. Now I thank God I'm alive, not doing prison time. Yeah, now I'm keeping all the bullshit aside to give me mine. Had to cut a lot of homies off, our goals just in the line. And that shit don't affect me, I was feeling fine. Still inspired to chase this fucking dream like the kid inside me.
Lost touch with reality. This shit got me forever free. And I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive and going all out. Lost touch with reality. This shit got me forever free. And I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive and going all out.
Now, Yeho coming in, doing a little bit of defense on the shark. But it looks like Team Sexy wants to record a nice quicker kick. Nice knock up. Down goes Mara shooting the major damage.
That Franco was really low. He was more focused on lane. We're seeing Uzi getting demolished. Hayabusa. I think that was messed up on the but Bailey coming in and taking out Hayabusa.
And kind of have someone keeping vision, and we are seeing a bit of a pick on off the field. That's what it looks like. We'll see Ziggy though getting caught up. Omega gets a stun. In comes Syndicate. He does use that petrify, but Ziggy is gonna go down. It's another kill there. And do some sort of crazy play. But now he's taking some damage. He does cover it from Syndicate. Get the kill. Wait a second. Quicker way, Ziggy though chasing in, does have that ultimate way to use it. Roll the down there, trying to slow down, trying to take it too much damage on down things though. Let's go out of the door. Down into the light now. Into the light now. Taking some damage, in comes that ultimate.
The openings, they're not able to find those fingers. Escalation gets caught with another
electrify. Sharp trying to do it on blast. Will get stopped in his track. And a nice time offended on the shoulder. They take that tower. Coming around the side of Ackerman there. With the Sharp going around. They want to get that Arctic Light coming on the Sharp.
Right now, they're being punished for it because Insomniacs is just outworking them and not
but still able to get the kill on the best player. 3 members down, make that forward, Nicolette all alone, but they don't have any Wow, but again, no one's able to stop this movement on Black, and it crashes down, and Ziggy gets the pin on the wall. Makes that all along with Wilman versus Sonar. Taking out Omega, Will is next to fall, a double kill, of this team fight. The disengage will most likely happen.
Welcome to the North American Squad League.
For those of you who are new, this is the first and currently only Mobile Legends League in all of North America.
A place where the top teams from the United States, Canada, and Mexico get to battle it out over the span of 10 weeks.
What are they battling for, you might ask? To start, 3,000 USD, 50,000 diamonds, but most of all, the right to say our team is the best.
It's been an amazing journey these past 2 seasons with teams like Area 77 and New Wave go home with the glory.
But as there will be 6 teams returning from previous seasons,
we do have some new faces coming in as well, and they look hungry.
For those of you loyal viewers who have been sticking with us through the past 2 seasons, we have to say thank you. And for
all of our new
viewers, welcome to the show.
I hope you enjoy.
I hope you enjoy.
There it is, guys.
That is picture perfect right here.
Middle, Craxy and Hate all alone. Can they defend this push, or are we going to see the sweep for the final? Ziggy flashes in, able to get the stun. Craxy in the back line, does some nice damage. Immortality comes up from right under the ultimate of Japanese, and now Hate all alone, not able to defend off. New Wave will take this game. Bring down counter just too high, and New Wave takes the champion. Feeling this out, the way the nice stun on the shark, Pokey doing a little bit of damage to the blocked up.
I feel so alive, it's like I'm hypnotized. All this shit on my mind, I feel like I'm ill-advised. I lost touch with reality, that shit killed the vibe. Had me living like I ain't having shit, I'm just getting by. And I'm far from the endless sky, still I grind to get me on top, no ceiling tiles. Yeah, ain't no cap, this an enterprise. Know you feel the vibes, feeling blessed that I'm still alive.
Lost touch with reality. This shit got me forever free. And I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive, I'm going all out.
Just barely out goes there by Supra. And they secure the kill on the fan. What a save! Secures the kill on him.
inside, let my feelings hide. Everything I despise, no reason given why. Now I thank God I'm alive, not doing prison time. Yeah, now I'm keeping all the bullshit aside to give me mine. Had to cut a lot of homies off, our goals just in the line. And that shit don't affect me, I was feeling fine. Still inspired to chase this fucking dream like the kid inside me.
3, 2. Welcome back, guys. We are here for the final series of tonight, and this will be the decider of who goes up against the Valley in the finals this coming Friday in a best of 7. But what we're going to see tonight is Ackerman going up against the previous winners of the last match, Deuce Knights, in a best of 5 fashion. We talked a lot about them earlier, but let's put in our final predictions on this. Aiko, who takes the game?
Man, you know, I was all about the Simpsons last time over the over Deuce Knights, but you know, I'm gonna go for Deuce Knights. They've blown my expectations out of the water. Hikaru's looking well oiled. Rose is throwing out these counters that are just godly. So I'm gonna go with DK this time around.
Private.
As much as I am a fan of Deuce Knights, I am not going to let last night's losses kind of stray me from being an Ackerman fan here. They have changed my mind about them as far as when they first came in here and how dominant they have been. I feel like last night's kind of showed them how much work they had to do, and I feel like they are going to be 110% here coming up against Deuce Knights. So I'm going to be Team Ackerman for this one.
All right, now Ackerman, definitely, we couldn't have said it any better earlier. They look good. They had a rough night last night, and they're going to take out some anger possibly against Deuce Knights. But Deuce Knights are on a roll right now. They just had a wonderful game against the Simpsons. Their hopes are high. Their feelings are good. So let's see if they can carry that into this game going up against Ackerman. Now, whoa. Ackerman will... we were about to start it.
3 seconds away from starting it, somebody leaves the lobby. But yeah, these teams are hungry. They both are here at the bottom bracket. They both have that sting of defeat on them that they are trying to get rid of. Both of these teams want success. Only one can go forward, and we're going to find out here now as we move into the very first banning phase of this best of 5.
Yeah, and what I want to see here is kind of what I was seeing from Deuce Knights last time. Interesting out the get-go, getting rid of that Natalia. Kind of seems to me like they're trying to set up the Wan just right out the bat. So if I was the side of Deuce Knights, that would have been my immediate reaction. Is that Natalia being banned? Nani, what's going on here? So what Natalia really can counters is that Wan pick. So I feel like that's a good go. Maybe they're trying to build up for it. If not, I mean, they could also be building up for the Bia pick as well. So let's see what they can do here, Private. Who do you think they should pick or ban here?
Well, right now, I feel like Natalia, the Wan is correct. We do have Zia, but Zia is such a versatile marksman right now. I don't really feel like trying to ban him out is going to be too smart of idea. We've seen him on the Wan. We've seen him on the Beatrix. We've even seen him on Bruno. So, I mean, he's proven that he can be dominant on just such a wide variety of heroes that I'm not sure that this is anything more than just a generic... they don't want pressure on that gold lane. I think that they're going to be leaning on Zia, so I think that's going to have to come into Deuce Knights' hands and heads here if they want to be successful, because if you allow Zia to farm, if you allow him to start getting into the mid and late game unanswered, you're going to start having problems, and that's kind of what they're trying to set up with that Natalia ban. But the rest of these bans are starting to look pretty textbook as far as the meta is concerned here.
Yeah, now let's not forget about Rose here. Rose has played a pretty nice Natalia, has won some games with that Natalia, has even when she didn't do amazing on the Natalia, like later on in the late game was able to be clutch. Now this is what I wanted to see, right? This is, I think at this point, Ackerman needs to stop sleeping on the Beatrix. Deuce Knights respect it. We see them either prio it or pick it here. Ackerman, though, banning it out. Does Zia get swapped up for the Wan, or do they prio this Balmond or something of that nature?
You know, a Ballmon would be a good play as well. But I mean, from what I've seen from Ackerman in the past is wow, they're actually throwing me for a loop here, going out the bucket and hitting a Diggy here. Oh.
Well, a Diggy, a great pick to kind of counter out a lot of some of those picks like an Atlas and a Kai. Even Julian here will have a little bit of problems trying to land that enhanced spikes, those enhanced chains onto the side of Ackerman. Maybe we are setting this up for like a Belmont pick. The Diggy would offset you from picking a in a Kai, which opens up the Belmont pick and opens up a lot of early game for you. We're gonna have to see here.
Yeah, and it's not, I mean, I like the Diggy. We're almost taking a page out of Shark's book last night, switching things up. Tarzan locks in this Paquito as the jungler, so a little bit of pullback there to help aid Tarzan when he wants to chase someone down. A little bit of peel if he needs to get away on top of his champ Stamp's passive. So it looks good. And now, with Yureshi picking up this Dairoth, we're pretty much saying, Deuce Knights, you're not picking up that Esmeralda. Go a different route.
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking about what could possibly going through Ackerman's head here, picking up the Diggy first. It kind of shows you that maybe they don't want to be countered, because there's not too much that you have to worry about with a Diggy. Diggy counters a lot, so they're more of, again, Ackerman's here trying to set the tide and trying to make Deuce Knights fall into it. So we'll see if they will. I mean, we're looking decently squishy on the side of Deuce Knights.
Yeah, right now we are going to get that slow on there. I do have to wonder what they are going to answer with. They do take that Dairoth away, like T-Rex said, as something that they were very successful in the last series with. Hopefully, Hikaru has an answer for that. I don't doubt that he will. He's a great XP laner, as we've been seeing in some of these last clashes. But right now, I think both teams here could do possibly with a little bit of tankiness coming from their sides here, as we're kind of lacking on that from both of these, which is really interesting. It's kind of shades of what we saw a little bit yesterday from Deuce Knights when they kind of clashed, and both teams barely had a set. Both their roamers were more of an engagement type rather than a set, so both teams were kind of just all over the map trying to make kills happen.
Now I'm wondering if Hikaru, like, I want to talk about that. Hikaru, how is he going to match this Dairoth? Wondering if maybe we see him fall into that possible Phoveus pick as an answer to the Paquito, as an answer to the dashes with the with the Dairoth. I think Dairoth definitely would win out in the early stages, but I wouldn't count it out of Hikaru's mechanics to be able to stalemate the lane. Other than that, he could also go for the Uranus as well. It definitely doesn't match up amazingly against the Dairoth, but with the consecration, you're at least able to get away from that slowdown Dairoth can bring, right? You're able to kind of dance around that Abysm strike and make Yureshi guess if he wants to try to use the flicker to hit you. So a couple possible options, but it's definitely a hard matchup. Thamu's also still in the field. Second ban's now coming in. We're taking out the Franco. We're taking out the Xavier G.
Yeah, and I was kind of falling into what you were building there, T-Rex. You know, I suspect that they moved Zia down to the bottom to be able to secure that, you know, that last pick and have that 1-1 just right out of the bat. Even though Private said it's kind of like a, you know, a normal pick, and you were saying Rose could possibly play the Natalia, but they also paired it with the Franco, which Franco can be devastating, but can also be a little countered by Diggy. But I'm seeing a giant setup for a 1-1 here. The Diggy being able to use the time just to be able to get the person to go back and be able to get the stacks going. I wonder if they're going to play the Phoveus. There it is!
There's my ban.
It's definitely a setup for a 1-1 here.
Yeah, they're going to have to be very careful around this next pick. We might be wanting to look at something with a little CC, possibly a Franco, possibly something that will be able to lock on onto a 1-1 there, possibly. Because, I mean, you've taken off the Phoveus, which means you're not going to really have the counter for the Paquito, not going to really have the counter for the Dairoth. So you're going to need something to help you set up and get into that. Oh, okay.
Whoa.
You know, we haven't gotten to see that. If there's anyone I want to see use it, I think Hikaru could be a great, this is going to be his first time showing in the playoffs. I don't even think we got to see him in the live season. Nobody ever really picked him up. Now, I'm still very questionable about this. No one's been using him. Can Hikaru make something out of it private?
It's interesting. I feel like his lack of mobility leaves a little something to be desired in his kit, but you cannot shy away from the amount of damage he can output, the amount of damage he can sustain, especially when getting hit. So we're going to see how well they can kind of balance this out, because I still feel like we are kind of riding that struggle bus for this 1-1. You either really want to finish this early, which they don't entirely have the composition for, or you need to have an answer for that. And we're going to find out here as we are moving on to the last pick here, dancing around one of these support rooms.
Man, I love the Rafaela paired up with the Lilia. They lock it in. You just, in that early stage, those two running as a combo, the first skill of the Rafaela adds a little bit of slow, and that just gives Lilia even more an advantage. Plus the speed up of her second skill, plus the speed up of Rafaela's second skill, it puts that Lilia right on top of you. Pairing that up with the aggressiveness of Julian, we already know what Deuce Knights want here. They want to bring the smoke early. My problem with Ackerman's draft right here, they have some nice damage in the mid game with the Dairoth and the Paquito, and they have some nice late game security. The problem is there's not that much of a wall to defend this Cecilion and the Wan. It's going to be a lot on Gals Cutie being able to use those reverse times to try to create some peel, but it's not as easy said as done. But let's see how things play out as we jump into the first game of this series. This is Ackerman going against Deuce Knights G.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out that I've seen during the entry of loading into this match here, that Diggy goes for an Impure Rage. Something that, builds off of and does more damage based upon HP. So we're seeing a Diggy being more of a peeler for Zia, which kind of already targets more into that they're really baiting and betting on Wan, absolutely popping off. So from the side of Deuce Knights, we need to see what they were kind of doing last time. We see Rose already up there and Sirius already up there. Look how much damage Diggy's doing, though. So this is going to be an interesting matchup here, Private.
Yeah, what I'm seeing here is a lot more aggression. They want to end this match a lot faster. They want the Diggy to be doing a lot more damage. They want to kind of get out of this laning phase as fast as possible. So we're going to see how well that works out for them. We still got about a minute left for this Lord, and here we go right now with the engagement.
Ackerman does take a bit of damage. Exile Rose does take a bit of damage there. Zia not able to finish anyone off. A disengage, still 0-0 on the board, though.
And we already seen the pathing by Tarzan. Just kind of, going up there, secure, putting a little bit of pressure, getting all of his camps, and showing that presence just in case anything does go down. He's able to get in, but Yato does take a lot of damage in mid, and that's a force out that maybe you don't want, because now mid lane's going to have a little bit more gold than you, and you might be missing out on some stacks. So that could be a good play by Deuce Knights.
Yeah, we see right now a lot of pressure being put on, especially at the bottom. Frederick being very careful, but not getting sucked into some of these fights at the bottom that will put him out of harm's way.
Oh, Tarzan, though, the flicker from Hikaru. Hikaru picks up first blood for the side of Deuce Knights. Now, gonna move on to this turtle, and with Diggy up in the top and Tarzan down, it is a free turtle for Deuce Knights. Up in the top, though, Blaze Duets is coming out from Sirius. Zia brought down to about 1/3 health, but still up. Hold on, wait a minute. Hikaru 2-0 on the Untold Hero right now. Frederick.
Maybe this is the secret he knew about why he was playing Dairoth, and I mean, if you're gonna play a hero, at least know his counters, and it seems that Hikaru has really picked up on that with this Frederick right now. 2-0 Ackerman right now. I mean, I am as surprised as anybody else out there right now.
I know, and I mean, this is some craziness that I think you guys were talking about. Hikaru again, just shining like a star right now. Absolutely showing us how an XP lane does it. Doesn't need that Esmeralda and Dyroth, but we got a battle here.
Yeah, Gauss Cutie brought very, very low, forced to use the time journey just to try to escape a Sirius. Doesn't want to let him go. Blazing Duet, Gauss Cutie goes down. Sirius picks up the kill. It's 3-0, ladies and gentlemen. Deuce Knights on a roll.
Yeah, and amazing there with the rotations and the chase down to pick up the kill onto Gals Cutie. We're still waiting for these first towers. We haven't been able to transition them, but we do have Tarzan. Might be in a bad way here. Does get taken out.
Yeah, Tarzan goes down. Zia, though, does get the crossbow tang. Easy peasy Hazel will phase away. Fleur now chasing down Zia. Fleur has to back off, though. Zia still a little too slippery to catch. But still, 2K gold lead already into the hands of Deuce Knights Private.
Yeah, it's amazing right now. 0-5 right now in favor of Deuce Knights. We're going to take a look at these items already, and we do see that we have the Genius Wand already on easy peasy here. So we're looking great. Moving on into this mid game, we're going to need an answer from Ackerman. Maybe it's coming in here a little bit more into the late game, but now we have an engagement for the second turtle.
Yeah, easy peasy almost gets a knock up on Uresi. Uresi forced to back off. Time Journey comes out from Gals Cutie. Turtle down to about half health. Gals Cutie getting melted. Rose pushing forward, and Rose gets the kill. Now a nice stun onto Tarzan. He is deleted. Yato will be next. Deuce Knights rolling in, taking the turtle and cleaning house.
Yo, what is going on here? We're absolutely seeing Deuce Knights go ham, and I think it could be contribute to that we're seeing on Tarzan has high and dry as a Paquito, but we're about to see.
Oh, Yureshi in a bad spot. Fleur gets killed. Black shoes, and you walk away safely. Deuce Knights 9-0. What else needs to be said here?
Man,
are these rotations right now? Rotating all the way from the top lane. Sirius able to come down with a blazing duet to kind of finish off the rest of Ackerman there. Right now, their rotations are crisp. It's almost crazy to see how faster they are than Ackerman, who has shown how quick they have been in the past.
Yeah. You got to give a lot of props to Car right now. 3-0-2, but the whole team, I mean, everyone's got zeros. Not a single kill from Ackerman. Ackerman needs to back off and pray for late game, G.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out here is that this isn't Ackerman's normal XP lane. Am I not wrong?
Reshi is a sub-in right now, yes.
A sub, so I mean there could be a little bit of a chemistry break here. Maybe Ackerman not practicing as enough as they should with subs. And I mean they're going against Hikaru here.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem. The side of Deuce Knights, though, keeping up the pressure. Easy peasy on this. Julian does get caught up by Tarzan. Knockout strike comes in. All it's going to take is one more hit, and he's taken down. Tarzan gets the first kill for the side of Ackerman, but Sirius keeps up the pressure. Blazing duets. Gals Cutie picked off. A nice play and a nice response from Deuce Knights. They don't want to let up. Fleur now chasing down Yato as Sirius and Rose clear this wave private.
Yeah, they're starting to answer back a little bit more. We see down at the bottom, Hikaru is going to have to kind of retreat there. But some great baits there by Tarzan. Maybe a little bit like we were saying, the synergy problem there for them as they are kind of losing their force, their strength in the XP lane, which kind of formulates into a little bit of a loss when it comes to these engagements on the objectives. We do see them starting up on this turtle, and I'm wondering if Ackerman has enough in the tank right now, or are they just going to let it go?
Yeah, and I mean,
hold on a second. Gals Cutie goes down Sirius with the blazing duet, but gets picked off. Yato taking that one for himself. It's a 2-for-1 though, and Deuce Knights still continue to be on top after taking another objective in that turtle.
this is such a dominating performance by Deuce Knights, and I love that they're just not letting the pressure up. They are keeping the choke happening, and they're just rotating so well together. I've seen some mistakes and some catches, easy peasy going down when maybe he didn't want to, but it just happened there. But I think it's going to definitely come down to this first Lord. Can we see a steal by the side of Ackerman?
Yeah, we are. As we look at the items right now, Clock of Destiny on the Sicilian. We do have that Enchanted Talisman and Ice Queen Wand on Fleur on that Lilia. So she's got the utility that she needs to kind of force these engagements, which allows Sirius on that Marksman to dive in with the Blazing Duet. With the entire team slowed down, he's able to rush in, put on an immense damage as we see right here.
Oh my god, the Blazing Duet shreds them down. Zia Gals are able to get away now. Yato trying to flank, but Easy Peasy is here with the knockup. Tarzan from that bush trying to get a whack or two in, but the damage still is not there for him. 1 and 3 now. Hikaru challenging him himself under the tower. Yureshi though hiding off in this bush, maybe looking for something with the Abysm Strike, not able to connect, gets stops by Hikaru. Yureshi now on the run under the tower. The flicker comes in. Hikaru gets the kill. A wonderful outplay. Deuce Knights are here. The Sanguine Claws tries to lock them up, but they will not stop. Now the second tower in the mid lane does go down. Hikaru, Fleur playing the tower and take out Gal's Cutie. A huge takedown from Deuce Knights. Ackerman in a lot of trouble right now.
That flicker with the ult from Fredrin, oh my god, knocked Arashi out of his boots on that Dairoth. And I mean, I guess we're looking at the counter for him right now. And right now there's just nothing to stop them. They're too far back. This is about a 7k gold lead on the side of Deuce Knights. What a dominating performance against the #1 spot in the league.
Yeah, Gal's Cutie goes down. Sirius. I mean, even Sirius right now, this man is at what? He's got a huge gold lead above. Oh, that's enough. A huge gold lead above Zia right now. And those Blazing Duets at 7 minutes. And I mean, we're at 9 now, but I'm talking a minute or two ago. He was melting them down with that Blazing Duet. It's supposed to take a bit more time, but this is the gold lead they have right now. 9 or 8,000 G.
Yeah, and I mean, that is such a substantial thing. But Rose...
Ooh, Rose may get picked off here. Uses that Holy Baptism. Does miss, but she's able to escape. Now, Deuce Knights are here to respond back, and Ackerman knows they couldn't get the pick, so they have to back away, back into their base as the Lord closes in. It's not an enhance, so he's not going to get the crash, but I don't think Deuce Knights need that right now. Rose, Sirius coming down to the boss side as Hikaru melts away on that tier 2 in the bot lane. A wave coming soon. Can Ackerman come in? Sirius with the flicker in. Battle Mirage out, but it causes enough damage for Hikaru to come and clean up house. 2 members down, 5 still standing for Deuce Knights. They move up into the mid lane. Now they're going to clear this inhibitor. 2 inhibitors down. Ackerman just trying to defend. Yato sending some shots from the back lane, just trying to clear these waves, but more minions are coming. They're on their way. Deuce Knights still playing in. Hikaru with the flicker in, getting a nice hit onto Yureshi. Now backing off Tarzan, coming around the side, getting a big burst, but the tower goes down. The base is melted, and Deuce Knights take game 1.
Deuce Knights is here to take everything. You better watch out.
Bro, Deuce Knights definitely remember who sent them to the bottom brackets, and it couldn't have been a clearer message here. They want revenge. They want those matches back. In this first game, what a dominating performance. Not even, I mean, we're going to go ahead and we're going to call out Fleur here. They got the MVP, but each and every single one of these members played their part to a T. And whether it was that first turtle fight, you saw a beautiful advancement by Rose to land a just great Holy Baptism, which allowed Sirius the time to kind of run in with that Blazing Duet to help them capture that first turtle. And ever since that, it has been nothing but being sped up by Rose, being slowed by Fleur, and allowing that damage from Sirius to get in there, and then Easy Peasy and Hikaru to come in and clean up the scraps. It was just an amazing work of synergy art here.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Fleur actually have a situation where they had to utilize Black Boots for a retreat. Black Boots was utilized for aggression non-stop, but I don't know if I can give the MVP completely to Fleur, because Hikaru was just a monster. The amount of flicker plays we've seen absolutely hit, and push Ackerman back was insane.
Yeah, it's definitely an insane game. Deuce Knights just felt hungry. As I stated before this series started, Deuce Knights want this, and you can tell in the way they played that game. Ackerman needs to take a second to think about what they're going to do for game 2. Now, Hikaru, yes, with the Frederick pick, surprised us all, and then pulls it off to such a T. Pulls it off going 6, 0, and 3. Easy peasy as well. Didn't get a lot of picks, but was able to jungle, was able to do his part, and then Sirius with the blazing dots. I mean, how can I choose an MVP when literally every player on the team made amazing plays throughout the whole game?
I said before that they were going to need to not just have good picks, but good picks that worked well into each other, because that's how they got beat by Ackerman in the first series, where they had all these picks that went into letting the Wan shine. Here, all of these picks went into letting Sirius on this Claude shine. The slows from Lilia, the slows and the speed ups from Rafaela, the CCs from Easy Peasy. Everything was geared toward letting Sirius get in there with the blazing duet, get out of there, and then they would come in with that big boy damage to finish the job. Beautiful engagements and rotations by the Deuce Knights. I am just amazed at how successful they were with it.
Yeah, they
put it down.
Very successful indeed. Ackerman, I know I'm like beating a dead horse right now, but they like Zia. Like, what's going on? Like, why aren't we picking up the Beatrix, man? Why?
Yeah, I mean, they banned it.
They banned it. They have first pick. Like, what?
Yeah.
Once again, I just feel like they're trying to big brain this draft when they just need to keep it simple, man. And there was a few, like, I think Deuce Knights in the end, it wasn't even about the draft. Deuce Knights cleanly outplayed them, outclassed them that game. But still, like, when you start to crumble here, you're going to crumble there. And overall, when I'm looking at Ackerman, it looks like, it seems like they've been off the past 2 nights. It seems like not only their gameplay, but also their draft, like, all of it just seems a little off to the Ackerman we normally know.
Maybe it's kind of the suffrage of those things that make a great team. Like I was talking about before, anybody can be great and positive and have no worries or anxiety or anxiousness when you're on top, when there's no reason to be scared or worried about anything. It's at those times when you get beat. It's when you're at the lower bracket fighting to stay in the tournament, when you really find out the metal that you are composed of. Right now, Deuce Knights showing how much more, how they have it together, how they're able to bounce back, and that's what Ackerman needs to be able to do. Like I said, we've seen a very strong Ackerman before throughout the entire league. Right now, this is what makes great teams. This is what makes great players. You need to be able to bounce back and find that synergy, find those compositions where you shine.
And now jumping into this banning phase, the first banning phase, Deuce Knights going to be on the gun this time as Ackerman opted to go for second pick. The Natalia getting banned once again from Ackerman, Masha and Akai from the side of Deuce Knights, G.
Yeah, and I think what you said earlier, Rex, was probably right from the side of Ackerman. They were just trying to big brain it too hard. Like picking the Dairoth early when there wasn't an Esmeralda on the field was really, really bold. And it just kind of sets statements here. And it's just crazy that they would want to do something like that. And in the losers bracket here is seeing if they can possibly come back. Right now, I mean, we're seeing Deuce Knights have 1 win on them. Bia is still open, which is kind of what they seem to be building towards. So we'll see if Deuce Knights does pick Bia first this time.
Yeah, it's definitely been a hot pick for Sirius, right? Like, Sirius has wanted that. So I think it's definitely something important. Now, Fermi's also open here. They do go for the ban. My guess is Sirius gets swapped up immediately. It's what we saw last time with them going against the side of the Simpsons.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and lock that in, but there needs to be a plan for it, especially as into these side lanes. I mean, right now, the Deuce Knights have been so dominant, especially with their side lanes. Even if they're countered, they don't get pushed back too hard. They can put it to a stall, to a standstill, which allows their team to kind of get the time that they need to get these objectives and then finally come in. We saw with the first game of The Simpsons where they were kind of held at a standstill. And then as soon as they got in a little bit of offensive momentum in it, they were able to take 3 towers right at once. Right now, we're starting to see that Diggy coming up again, this time under the wing of a Balmond who's going to have that early game and then that jungle invading potential on the side of Ackerman.
Yeah, they are forcing that Diggy. They want it bad, and it's a good pick, but I'm just wondering, are we still sticking to the same thing we tried last time, G?
I mean, it seems like it. You know, like I don't know what type of plan they have with the Diggy, but Diggy's rough to use because Wrath is a complete counter to it. If I was Deuce Knights, I'd kind of just up Wrath because I feel like Wrath would play a good key role here. I think from the side of Ackerman, what they kind of lacked on last game is they didn't really have any answer to the Wrath. And I feel like if Deuce Knights does that again, they still might not have an answer to it. Oh my god, let's go!
That's a flex. That's a flex right there from Easy Peasy. Because honestly, I kind of feel like the Balmond can outplay Easy Peasy. Like, I mean, I feel like the Balmond can outplay the Ling a little bit. You can come in, you can invade, you can cause a lot of damage. But Easy Peasy knows he feels comfortable enough to deal with whatever pressure Ackerman wants to bring here, Private.
Yeah, that is exactly what I was gonna say. Ling is pretty hard countered by a Balmond. You can invade him. You can try to take away his blue. It's a lot for Balmond against any assassin. Balmond wins out because he can rotate faster. He can clear out his jungle faster. Picking the Ling into this is telling them right now that he's not scared of the Balmond. He knows he can outplay you even from behind. And Easy Peasy does have a great Ling, and absolutely what he can do on this Ling is absolutely amazing. I'm excited to see. I mean, we still, even if they win this game, it's a best of 5, so they still have room to kind of wiggle around here, maybe flex out a bit. So we're gonna see how well this pick goes on into this second round of bans.
Yeah, going into the second round of bans, you do see, I like what Ackerman did here. You know, they, instead of going for like, you know, an Atlas or something crazy like that, they get rid of the Dyroth, they get rid of the Wrath, which are really, really great counters to a lot of their team right now. So they did really good on the second banning phase. I think it's going to be coming down to what Hikaru and Rose picks. And to be honest, I feel like Hikaru, Rose, and Fleur have been playing a huge role together. You know, and we'll see what Hikaru throws out the box this time.
Yeah, Yato's really going to have to think as well about what he's going to pick for a mage here. You have Easy Peasy on that Ling, on the map, and he knows he's just a prime target. I was thinking the Kagura, but even that, it's hard to get away when someone's... I mean, she has some escapability, but it's still not going to be easy. I mean, it could be a solid... They swap up Zia with the Claude, and that just shows, like, we're like, oh, what do we want to pick for Yato here? I mean, mages, you're going to have... When the Ling's on the field, you know you're one of the people he's going to go for. Now, Hikaru on the CXP lane, you still have the Uranus possibility. I mean, I'm super questioned about the Fredorin, right? It worked well against the Dyroth. Would it work well against the Esmeralda? I don't know. Rose, though, hovering over this Estes right now, Private.
Yeah, The more and more I think about this, I'm not that I'm doubting Easy Peasy. I'm worried because the Diggy, especially with that time reset there, he's gonna have issues when he goes into that Finch pose if he gets latched onto with that. So we're gonna have to see how well it goes in there. We did see the Rafaela taken out of there. I'm not sure if this wasn't part of the Deuce Knights plan. I mean, you'd rarely get to pull the same type of comp, especially when it was successful twice in a row. We do have the Estes there. So this, and Estes, as we all know, you need great team synergy for it. You need to have that death ball grouping for your team to be able to pull it off very well. They have been showing that in these last 2 matches, so we're going to see how well it goes into these last 2 picks of Ackerman.
Yeah. And one of the things that T-Rex said it earlier, man, going with a cog. I just don't know. I mean, it seems like it's going to be a rough situation here. I feel like the side of Ackerman needs to definitely focus on a lot of anti-heal early out the box, because we're seeing a severely thick team, especially having an Estes. So shutting down Rose would be the priority for Ackerman here.
Yeah, the thing is, though, shut down Rose early, right? But before we get any farther, these teams are ready to go, and we're jumping into game 2. Can Deuce Knights take another victory over Ackerman, or will Ackerman even the playing field as we move forward, Private?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's going to come down to how well you're going to be able to win out these lanes, and then set that up for objectives. As we know right now, Deuce Knights have been so dominant in those 2 areas for these last 2 nights as well.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things that I am seeing here that I was quite wondering if Easy Peasy was going to do it or not, is that we're seeing a killing spree. So I think we're going to see a little bit of scaling from the Ling. They're not going more for the objective base, because I feel like they're going to always be having to deal with Tarzan. So why not go for the clear base, you know, being able to actually do some damage? I think maybe shutting down Gal's Cutie non-stop might be what they go for here, because they did that last time.
Yeah, and as we move on here, I mean, it's going to be interesting too, trying to fight Belmont for these objectives, or maybe they don't even go for objectives. Maybe when these turtles come up, they go ahead and force themselves onto these lanes. We're going to have to see as we move on. We're about 30 seconds from this first Lord, both teams trying to look for an opening, possibly a pick, before we move on to this first turtle.
Yeah, and we do see, ooh, Easy Peasy does get ripped off the wall by Diggy. I mean, that's Gal's Cutie being able to, you know, do that is great, but Rose and Sirius here holding in Zia on the tower does steal a little bit of gold. So I wonder what they're going to be doing here, Rex.
Now, with Turtle coming up in a few seconds, we just see Gal's Cutie be a possible counter to the Ling there, so it could be an issue. I would give Ackerman the advantage over this Turtle, over some of these objectives in the early phases. Easy Peasy, knowing that, wanting to back off, he's just going to go for his blue set instead, but Hikaru has come on to Gals, able to pick up the kill. Turtle goes to the side of Ackerman, but Hikaru has the Cutter Inferno, chasing down Rose, taken out from Urashi though, so it's a 1-for-1 Turtle to the side of Ackerman Private.
Yeah, 1-for-1 there, and unfortunately, Easy Peasy decided to go for his blue. His team was able to, oh my god, the damage onto Gal's Cutie makes quick work of him with that shotgun from Sirius there, and Easy Peasy able to clean up nice and quick.
And that's another thing that I'm still seeing. Gal's Cutie going with the Impure Rage this time. Seems like a Diggy feed strat, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe, I don't know, but they are starting to get up. Luckily, Tarzan takes that red buff, takes a little something from Easy Peasy there to slow them down, but we also have to take into account the pressure that Sirius has been putting onto Zero in this top lane. Well, Sirius and Rose at that, right? Rose has taken a death, but I would say Sirius definitely coming out on top in this gold lane. It's not a lot, but he has a little bit of a gold lead already on top of Zia.
Oh, a little bit of trouble here.
Oh, Yin Yang overturn does close in, bringing Sirius back. And the Blazing Duet helps finish it off. Zia getting the kill right as we counted him out. This is going to put him back in the game.
I mean, that was a lot.
Yeah, a ton of damage up there up at the top. It's just right now Rose up there trying to fend this off. They're having a little bit of trouble here trying to capitalize on some of these objectives, as I think they're more kind of geared towards the late game.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to give it up to Tarzan here. I've seen Tarzan just kind of focus on invading, not so much team fighting here. I feel like they just need to get gold, but
Ooh, Rose taking a bit of damage, but Easy Peasy wants something out of this. Tarzan now getting slowed down, able to dash through the wall. Nibiru's Passion does not connect on to anything. Sirius going back to lane. Easy Peasy going back to jungle. Just a full disengage, but at this, Tarzan should be able to clean up this turtle once again.
Yeah, a free and easy turtle for them right now. It's not looking great for the side of Deuce Knights as they're not able to capitalize here. Oh, as I say that, Easy Peasy coming in.
Blazing Duet comes down, followed up by the Tempest of Blades. Zia able to get away from that, but Sirius now has full prio onto that tower, but decides to come down instead. The Blessing of the Moon Goddess helps everyone get their health a little bit back up from Rose, and the disengage comes back in.
Yeah, see, what we're seeing here again, like I was saying, Tarzan is doing such a great job sneaking in. They notice and have map awareness on 1,000 right now, able to steal the red buff from Easy Peasy a ton of times and not letting up. And that's where the micro plays are coming. And now we might see a play going up here against Rose.
He does connect onto Rose. Rose forced to flicker away. Sirius keeping enough range that he can pick off some shots onto Tarzan. Tarzan loses the gold crab. A nice take from Sirius, using that utility of his ultimate very well. Fleur now getting closed in by 4 members. Gonna back off knowing he can't take this fight. Does have the black shoes, but it's in a bad spot. Able to get away, even though lethal counter connects. Easy Peasy clearing up the wave.
Yeah, they're still doing a good job of maintaining right now as they're not too far behind, not even a whole K behind. So they're kind of really leaning into this late game, but I'm really kind of questioning how they're going to be able to utilize that. We're definitely going to be waiting for this damage on the Beatrix series.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yes.
There's the damage. This is the problem right now. Fleur using the black shoes. Tarzan wants to go in for that steal once again. Easy Peasy on the hunt. Yato takes a lot of damage, but Yureshi is on the backside. Easy Peasy gonna get taken out. Yureshi was waiting like a thief in the night. Takes out Rose too. A double kill going into the hands of Yureshi. Ackerman finding their groove.
Yeah, definitely finding the groove. Sirius might be in trouble.
Yeah, Blazing Duet comes out. Sirius with no way to escape. Will go down. Zia picks up that kill.
We are seeing a totally different game this time around from Ackerman, and I mean they're in a sizable lead, but they have to not make any mistakes here. As we say that, we do see that Easy Peasy possibly trying to sneak this lord, but I don't know if they're gonna do enough damage. They did get it, and I don't know if they want the fight though. They definitely need to proactively back out. We need to see Easy Peasy, you know, farm up. We're missing some gold. You need to focus. Getting that turtle was key.
Zia getting a couple shots off onto Fleur here. Tarzan wants to chase it down. Does have the black shoes, but it brings it back into everyone. Yin Yang overturn connects. And Fleur able to escape the heal from Rose. Saves his life. And while this is happening, Sirius takes that gold lane tower.
Yeah, and right now it's a struggle bus running here for this laning phase. I feel, yeah, that's what they're all riding here. Meep, meep, here it comes. They are trying to get into this mid game where they can start utilizing their grouping up, where Rose can heal everybody with that Blessing of the Moon Goddess, where they can actually sustain, but now at the top.
Yeah, Sirius getting pulled back with that reverse time. Zia's going to be able to get another one onto him. That could spell danger as we move into the late game. Tempest of Blades comes down. Easy Peasy not able to connect, though. The rest of the team's going to back off as Easy Peasy moves into the enemy jungle to try to steal something away from Tarzan this time.
Yureshi is confused. That's not your base down there. All the way behind enemy lines. Both of these XP laders, no respect for each other's jungle.
Yeah, I think that was a wonderful play, to be honest. Being able to dive in there, cleared the XP lane and the mid lane. There's a lot of fighting going on right now, but both of the gold lanes do lose their towers, so we might see some more rotations and team fights becoming a key play here.
Yeah, and with those team fights becoming a key play, you know, even though they're at a deficit, I like the Estes, and Rose has taken 2 deaths, but let's take a look at the items and see where they really stand private.
Yeah, right now we just see that Blade of Despair picked up on the Beatrix is going to be able to do a ton of damage. But I mean, matching that up with a golden staff and a demon hunter sword means that Claude's just going to be having more of an effect during these team fights. And that's going to be the problem. Is Rose going to be able to sustain through these blazing duets? We've seen Deuce Knights come from behind before. They do know how to play that long con, that long game where they wait till the end to try to get these team fights. So we're going to see if that plays out here.
Yeah, Yureshi using a Falling Star Moon, trying to connect on a Rose, but Very misses. Easy peasy, finding a mark. Tempest of Blades comes down. He wants Yato, but he just can't find it. Yin Yang overturn comes in, and easy peasy goes down. The heal from the heal from Rose is a lot. Black shoes come off from Fleur. Back into the midst of things. Able to find a new position, though. And Hikaru comes in. Serious Hikaru cleaning things up. Tarzan on the run. Hikaru wants more. Lethal counter goes in, but the winner is Hikaru. A wonderful double kill and a triple steal coming from Deuce Knights.
What just happened?
Built different.
What just happened to Deuce Knights? What they just did to Ackerman is illegal in 13 states. They just absolutely murdered them, and now they are going to go ahead and start on this lore. Just what I was talking about, the late game. They wait for it, and they're patient.
Yeah, very patient.
Just securing that Lord, taking out Tarzan was such a huge play. Dude, Hikaru was bouncing around Ackerman's team like a pinball.
Oh, Zia comes in. The heal's not enough. Sirius will go down once again. I'll tell you what, Sirius has not been having the great game, and the saving grace, or the thing that keeps Ackerman in this, could be Zia. Zia is shining this game 5-0-0.
This is the time where you want to utilize the Lord and clean up the map, but there's a lot of Ackerman in mid right now on the Lord.
Yeah, they're going to try to clean it up quickly, not even let it touch their towers, try to keep them as far away as possible, but easy peasy's here. Tempest of Blades coming down. The time journey comes out, giving everyone enough sustainability. Hikaru into the side. Zio in with the blazing duet, connecting onto Rose, but the heal is still too much. Zia able to flicker away, able to survive just a second, but Hikaru is here once again onto Yureshi. Yato connecting with that Yin Yang overturn, but pays the price for it as Sirius takes him out. A 1-for-1 trade on the map once again.
I mean, we're talking about Sirius not having a great game, but as we move later and later, we're starting to see more and more plays made by him. The fight before this, he was able to take down 2 kills on his own. We do see a very standard kill there at that last one, so he's really starting to come into play. Items starting to look. He's already starting to pick up Pierce, but it looks like Easy Peasy might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Pulled right into the lethal counter like a mouse trap. Now, Easy Peasy, I like the fact that he did try to go for that split push, though. He knows with that Diggy on the field, with Yato, with some of these other players, he's not really able to be the aggressor in these fights, so he's opting to find positions across the map.
And I mean, with that play of the split push, like you were saying, I feel like it's an alternative, you know, like we were seeing the right lane having heavy pressure and allowed them to secure 2 towers on the right side, but
yeah, Falling Star Moon does come down. Hikaru with the Cutter and Inferno, trying to lock on to Gauss Cutie here. Tarzan may be the next target. A Sirius sends snipe shots from the backside. Hikaru now trying to run away a bit, re-engaging because Rose just gives him the healthy knees. Gauss Cutie very low. Zia with the blazing duet, but not really connecting on anyone. Fleur now here. Easy peasy also on the backside. Tempest of Blades landing down on top. Dodges the Yin Yang overturn, but Tarzan gets that kill anyways. Yureshi now just running away, but they've taken what they've needed. They've taken out Easy Peasy once again.
Yeah, Easy Peasy having the roughest game I've ever seen from him right now, but it's not just Easy Peasy. His whole team starting to clamor up behind, starting to work and do what they need to at this end game. Oh my god.
Fleur finds one, and Sirius with the shotgun out in place. Shots to the face, 2 down. Zia now trying to run away. Sirius putting more pressure down. Rose has his back, but Yureshi wants a piece of this. Sirius. Yureshi now in, but the rest of Deuce Knights are here. Nice falling star moon lands on a Sirius and takes him out. Yureshi trying to do something, but it's too much damage. Fleur gets the shutdown. A 3-for-1 trade and a nice price to take the advantage on this Lord.
You got to give it up to both teams. The aggression is insane on all levels. Tarzan in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, Gal's Cutie, though, using the time journey to get away from this. Zia coming in. Does get knocked up. Yeah, uses the blazing duet. Tempest of Blades, though, coming down. Zia now all alone against the world, but Easy Peasy has his focus in. He wants the Lord. Yato with the umbrella does not catch Easy Peasy this time, and Easy Peasy catches the Lord, though. While all this is happening, they do lose an inhibitor in the bot side, though. Minions able to pick that up. Serious force to back off. Lord coming very quickly now.
This is the problem as we move into the late game. We're done with the laning phase where they were so weak. Still having some problems on this lane is easy peasy, but the rest of the team clamoring around this Estes as Estes is refilling everybody, especially during this Cotterate Inferno of Hikaru, making a monster into a Godzilla right now. They are having the biggest problem trying to shut down this Thamus.
Yeah, he can really just sit there now, though, with Lord coming. Deuce Knights secure the mid lane tower. Lord creeping forward. It is an enhance, so it will get this crash, bringing that top inhibitor down to about half health. Lord still up. The rest of Deuce Knights coming into the mid because a wave is there. Lord down now, though. Yureshi with the falling star moon. Able to do some nice damage, chasing down Sirius. Sirius just trying to escape. Rose trying to heal and make him last longer. Sirius repositions and gets an irreduced passion on. Zia tries to find something, does find Fleur and Rose. Yato with the double kill. That is a nice play, a nice response from Ackerman there.
What I'm really seeing here is that Zia's just able to get out on almost every single occasion and has not been shut down this whole game and is pretty much carrying the team on his back with the combination of Yureshi just putting in a lot of pressure. Let's see what they can do here. Easy peasy.
All right, easy peasy last out of that. I want to see, did he pick up a tank item? Because he's surviving those hits a little bit, but nope, still no tank item. But he is finally getting away from those sticky situations.
Yeah. And it could be attributed to it doesn't seem like there's a lot of anti-heal on the side of Deuce Knights, so they're running into the problem now of that late game Esmeralda, but we are seeing really good split pushes by Easy Peasy.
Yeah, only one anti-heal per team right now, and I'm wondering if we're going to start picking up a little bit more. Esmeralda has been a problem as she that's what's the problem with this Estes, is when you're grouping up all together, you are a huge target for that falling moon star, and they've been showing it. Looks like the entire team is locked on to Ling, though.
Yeah, he should be able to escape this, though. He has a handle on things. Lord will now be up in 20 seconds, and Deuce Knights are preparing for it. I love the way they checked that bush right there. Like, they're ready, man. They blew the second skill. They put a gloom there. They know that they need to be prepared for this fight. Easy peasy, trying to macro up this top lane and give them an advantage. Send someone up there while Lord is down here.
And that's how fast a Ling travels across this map. He's going to be able to macro up there and get his blue and then get back in time for this Lord fight while they're going to have to deal with these lanes being pushed in.
Yeah, and the macro could be the advantage.
Yeah,
Ooh.
the macro and Tarzan picking up that immortality possibly might let them secure the Lord this time.
I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for Ackerman to secure this Lord. There's just so much coming at them. They need to do something about that top wave, but they also need to do something about this bottom lane, so they're constantly sending someone away. What I like from the side of Deuce Knights is they're not trying to force it as well. Now Tarzan, though, looking for an angle here. Sirius continues to send those snipe shots in. A little bit of a final engage. Karu taking a little bit of damage. Zia also here does have the blazing duets ready to go. They're going to need to be careful about how they approach this. Easy peasy finally showing up. Tarzan doing a little bit of damage on Karu. The fight starts to move away from the Lord pit. Lord is reset. Yureshi into the backside with the falling star moon as Zia brings in the blazing duet to help follow up. Sirius forced to flicker, but Yureshi doesn't want to let him go. Yato gets the kill. Make that at a double, possibly a triple. This could be bad for Rose. Yato on fire. Easy Peasy tries to connect, but Yato with the outplay flickering away. Easy Peasy trying to chase it. Yato gonna find it. Another, the immortality comes up, but Urashi takes the kill. A 4-man takedown from the side of Ackerman. Deuce Knights were just outclassed.
Yeah, that last play, and so much. I see what they were trying to do, but unfortunately, they had Esmeralda sticking onto them. But this is going to be possibly the last push. Only one person left to try to defend.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that is it. They don't have any minions, though, so they're doing a little bit of damage to the base. Gals taken out. 4 seconds left for Sirius. 3 seconds left for Sirius. Fleur will also come up, but I don't think it's going to be enough time. The base goes down.
Man.
A great game by Ackerman, able to pull it right from the beginning and just kept mounting the offense. But for me, let's talk about this Ling decision, this decision to pick Ling into this composition. Easy Peasy, known for his micro skills, known for how great he is mechanically, especially on this Ling. I just don't think this is the team, or this was the scenario where you pull it out, because he was consistently the weak link on the team. Given he was able to make some pull the enemy back, which allowed he was able to dive deep into the back lines, which allowed some of the forward momentum from Deuce Knights, from Sirius to get in there, from Fleur and Hikaru. But ultimately it was a problem, and I felt like it was more of a crutch than it was something that helped out Deuce Knights. But Ackerman, especially Zia, getting that prime pick that he wanted, that Claude, absolutely shined here.
Yeah, and I want to attribute it to that. On the side of Deuce Knights, I don't think any of us really talked about it. They just had a severe amount of slow and not enough CC. They were never, even having a Ling, they were just not ever able to lock down Zia. You see Yato at the end there, just absolutely dancing around. It was that in-game peel that they just didn't have, and then everybody was just able to sneak away every single time. And I feel like that was one of the places they definitely lacked.
Most definitely. Now with that, it is 1-1. Pressure on both teams. This is a best of 5 if you're just coming in here. It was looking good for Deuce Knights there, but Ackerman have now responded with a win of their own. How much farther will this go, or will a team get 2 wins and finish this up quick, Private?
Oh, we're looking at a long night, I think, honestly. So I hope everybody is strapped in, has got their snacks and their drinks, because that just showed, this is what I wanted to see from Ackerman, is that aggression, the synergy from them, and including opening up the front line for Zia. And he absolutely shines in this game. The damage he was able to put on there. They got the Beatrix, but they weren't able, I feel like had Deuce Knights picked something else for a jungle, they probably would have had a better chance in some of these engagements, because even a 4v5, they were able to handle a lot of what Ackerman was able to throw at them. So it's really, it came down to, I mean, first of all, it almost came down to like it being like a 6v4, where Zia was absolutely shining like an extra player, and Easy Peasy was having a rough go of it, because there was too many counters out there. I don't care how great of a Ling you are, when you've got a Kagura, when you've got a Diggy on the other team, when you've got the Esmeralda, you barely have any targets. You've got a lot of CC against you, but we're gonna see how they develop that into their next comp as we move into the 3rd draft.
Yeah, and I think just overall that last match was just attributed to not having enough CC, not able to lock down like they had previously. And I mean, it could have went anybody's way during that last match, but we are now into this match. Already banning out the Natalia once again. That seems to be a normal for Ackerman, as well as a Masha. You never want to deal with 30k HP out in the field there, Private.
Yeah, it's really interesting here too. I think the Natalia is pretty much a sure sign that you're going to be seeing a Diggy on the side of Ackerman. It's been something, especially it's one of Diggy's real big counters is that burst damage that can come out from nowhere, especially in the early game where Diggy is the weakest, and during that laning phase where you can catch him rotating back and forth. He really shines once you get those 5v5s, just like Estes, but eventually, I mean, we saw eventually it comes to a T where you're not able to fully support your team and you're just food for an Esmeralda. And that's what we're going to need to see. Deuce Knights need to get back to a point where they were dominating, where they were able to hold their side lanes, because that was becoming an issue, is that when they weren't able to, Esmeralda was able to get fed, they weren't able to get these objectives like they wanted to, or have the pressure on these objectives to kind of ward away. Oh, and now forget everything I just said about the
right. Let's rewind back to what Private was saying. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I mean, banning out the Diggy, quite interesting here, because now you have the ideal, you have fair miss. So I mean, the last ban's probably going to be a fair miss here. And I think that was just setting them up that maybe they want to go there's the fair miss is now open. So again, when I seen that Diggy ban, my first instinct was that they wanted to pick a Kai, you know? So I understand why they went to ban a Kai, but now you just left the fair miss open.
You know, here's the thing too. Ackerman learned this lesson last night. They had Valentina and Faramis open with one more ban, and they decided to ban Valentina, even though Valentina is the straight up counter to Faramis. And they got to find out firsthand from the Valley how strong Faramis is. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they can bring this up. But and they're going to be using it. It looks like they're going to be using it in the mage position as well. So it's going to be more of an offensive Faramis, a Faramis who's going to initiate that cult altar, that immortality for the team as they dive in on top of the Deuce Knights. And they're able to answer with some very strong picks of their own, with the Balmond in that early game and the potential jungle invades and that shredding ability of the Claude for Sirius.
My pleasure.
Ooh, they pick up a Karina play right now into a fair miss is, I would say, probably one of the best decisions, because I don't know if Karina's ever going to go down if she has a cult altar every single time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here. The Grok, man, shades of what they faced last night. I think they're pulling like this entire composition out of the Valley's playbook here. That Grok we saw last night as well, able to set up those wild charges for a lot of these engagements, especially because it upsets the Balmond, upsets that spin from him as well, upsets the blazing duet from Sirius as well. So it's a pretty decent counter, not on the greatest cooldown to try to counter the Balmond spin, but it's going to be enough for an entire team type of gank there. But now we're going to be moving into the second round of bans here, and we see Beatrix and Lilia being taken off the board.
Yeah, and you know what we're seeing from the side of Deuce Knights? The exact same hero lineup they just faced. We have the Claude, the Balmond, and the Esmeralda. Now, the real question is, can they do what was done to them?
It's going to be a tough call here. You need to be able, like, this is going to be an offensive cult altar, like I said before, so you're going to need to be able to stop that. And even then, cult altar stops you from CCing them, so you're going to need to be able to disengage from them properly, or be able to take down Yato very quickly before these fights happen. You know, Ackerman was able to do that last night. Later on in the game, they were able to start picking off Hoon on that Faramis, but it didn't help them. It was too late. And I wonder if they're going to be teaching that same lesson to Deuce Knights and Zia, picking up his fave, that Bay, that Wan.
His fave, that Bay, that Wan. Now, you mentioned something earlier, G. You mentioned the Karina paired up with the Faramis. Definitely a deadly combo, but is Yureshi gonna play this Franco in the EXP lane here? No, I think he's gonna swap over with the Grok. It's gonna be Grok up against Hikaru. Now, yes, the Faramis is strong, but one thing we need to keep our eyes on this game, I think, as usual, is going to be Hikaru. I think Hikaru may have a bit of an advantage over this Grok. Could put up a defense, but if Hikaru can scale, it could create some of the time that they need to buy when going up against this Faramis here.
It honestly depends right now. Grok, he no longer has that defense by default, the magical defense. He only has physical defense for physical items that he picks up. Unfortunately, that's not going to be great for him going up against an Esmeralda. But what he does have in his favor is clear potential in that laning phase. That second ability, the swipe and the cleave that he does, is going to be able to clear out minions very quickly, which is going to allow him to rotate. But we are here at the third game. One game apiece for these two Goliaths. Who is going to continue on? And we're about to find out.
Now we will find out real fast. I'm wondering what the side of Ackerman, how they're going to play this. Are they going to keep it super aggressive with this Faramis, or are we going to see them kind of just slow play it, wait for Faramis, wait for Tarzan to also get a bit more skilled up and really use that Cole Altar to its maximum potential? I will say, looking at the side of Deuce Knights here, some nice late game possibilities. Fleur on this Xavier, big burst potential. Also with the Mystic Field, you get some CC and some peel added into that. Serious on the Claude, also some nice multi-damage potential onto everybody, something that could help when it comes down to these Cult Altars.
Yeah, and we're going to be trying to see how that happens here. A lot of Hook does go wide on the Sirius, but they're going to start putting more and more pressure on here. Both of these marksmen are late game, so they're going to be wanting to see them fed, wanting to see a lot of pressure on them and make them afraid of trying to move forward and get macroed up here.
Yeah, they're going to have to get macro, but Tarzan is coming. Oh, a nice hook on a Fleur stops him from running away, and first blood goes to the side of Ackerman private.
Yeah, not a great start for them, Fleur, especially on an Xavier who does take a long time now to kind of hit those power spikes. So a great job by Ackerman to isolate, land that hook, and set them up possibly as they move on to this first turtle.
Yeah, with Turtle up, I will say Easy Peasy has the advantage over it, but Yureshi is going to keep vision. Yato now coming in, does have the Cult Altar ready to go. Easy Peasy steals it though. Dawning Light comes in, bringing everyone down, but the Cult Altar's going to bring them back up, but that is the first objective secured for Deuce Knights.
Yeah, and if I'm looking at the side of Deuce Knights, what you really need to do here is kind of just like focus objectives. If you can, bait out the Cult Altar as much as possible, but when you see it, you need to get out of dodge and do not engage. And I feel like that's going to be one of the major win conditions here. Again, Yato's going to be able to pull off some really crazy pulls to maybe turn some tides here, Private.
Yeah, but we're not seeing that right now. In fact, the first Cult Altar we saw was kind of I want to say a muscle memory thing for him as he activated, and his team didn't really need it, and they didn't engage with it. And when you're using a Cult Altar on a mage, you definitely need to be using that in an offensive manner to be setting up these fights.
Yeah, and I mean that's a great point. That's what we saw Hoon do last night, and it's something that, you know, normally as a tank, it's the defensive measure, as kind of you were saying, but as the mage, we want to see Ackerman be aggressive with it, especially paired up with this Karina, with this Franco. Tarzan does get stunned up there. Rose just kind of peeling for Fleur here, but still nothing too major happening at the 3.5 minute mark.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to point out, we do see that the Karina picked up a jungle emblem. you know, instead of going for damage. So my bet is that we're probably going to be seeing a tank Karina this time around. And based off of picking up the Cursed Helm, I definitely already see that happening. So what I'm seeing here is maybe not enough damage from the team unless they're really relying on Yato and Zia.
Yeah, and that is interesting too, because the tank arena can kind of fall off as we move later and later into the game. But we do see that Ackerman in a better position to go ahead and start on this turtle as we start seeing everybody clamor around and close ranks around it.
Oh, and a nice flicker Numenon blast. Colt Altar does come out. Easy peasy secures the turtle. Yato does get silenced. Sirius comes in with a blazing duet, and the Nime has been bought. Zia trying his all with that crossbow of Tang, able to take out Hikaru. Easy peasy in the midst of things. Only Tarzan has fallen, but two members of Deuce Knights go down. Make it a 2-for-2 as Sirius tries to clean this up. Nice Mystic Field. Gets the immobilization onto Gallus Cutie, and Fleur gets that kill as well. Make that a 3-for-2 in the hands of Deuce Knights.
Wow. That was an absolutely great engage. They lost a couple players, but they didn't give up hope, and they kept pushing. And Sirius being able to, you know, didn't receive any of the kills, but was still there to get a lot of the assists. You know, if Sirius would have got the kills, he might have scaled a little bit harder here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like this might be a problem with having that Faramis on a mage instead of a roam player. I feel like Gals Cutie might know better when to use that Cult Altar. I keep on feeling like that is being used a little early. Yeah, the Numenon Blast came down, but none of your team was actually low. He used it in reaction to that Numenon Blast coming down. Cult Altar a little early, gave time for Sirius to get his stacks and come in after it ended to get them with a blazing duet. So, I mean, maybe a little bit of a mistiming when it comes to these team fights.
And they're just peeling like crazy right now. And I feel like, you know, that's something good to do, you know. If you can utilize an ultimate to put a little bit of peel, but we knock
Nice
up.
wild charge. Fleur gets deleted. Yato picking up that kill. Now Easy Peasy and Rose trying to clear up this wave. Turtle will be up in 13 seconds, G.
But while all of that is going down, Zia does secure a kill on a Sirius. That might allow them to take this right tower. Rose trying to defend.
Yeah, Rose not going to be able to defend. Maybe just enough, able to clear that wave. Dawning Light does come down to help out. Back at the turtle, though. Easy peasy loses it. Tarzan gets the outplay, able to steal that from under his nose. Bobs the emote as he's walking away. Back to a standstill. Gold lead is in the hands of Deuce Knights, though.
Yeah, even though behind, starting to lose these lanes, starting to lose these objectives, they do still have a tiny bit of a gold lead, but it is starting to slip. They need to be more careful here. Need to be aware about checking some of these bushes as the hook does narrowly go wide there. And like that was luck though. And that's why I say they need to be careful about these bushes and how they're rotating.
Yeah, Gals Cutie, though, in a bad spot. Does go down. Yato not able to save the day. Will get stunned as well. Easy peasy now. Moving on to Yato. Cult Altar comes out as a defense mechanism. Tarzan enters the fray, but Easy Peasy is here to play. Brings down that lethal counter and takes out Yato. Tarzan now trying to defend this tower. Easy Peasy has cut the wave. Fleur taking a bit of damage. Zia, though, into the backside trying to get those weakness points. Takes a big shot from a Dawning Light from across the map, so Zia has to run. Now Deuce Knights coming into the mid side. Rose on the front. Hikaru decides not to use the Falling Star Moon. Able to pull back that aggression and back off.
Yeah, back off very well. And I liked how much pressure they put onto Yato there. That allowed the Cult Altar to be baited out, and he just utilized the Cult Altar to save himself, which is such a hard decision to make. And I feel like that's where Private was going, but oh my god.
Down in the mid. Rose, though, with the Moon on Blast, will connect. Sirius comes in with the Dawning Light, and Yato can't even pop his ultimate. Tarzan now on the run, but the lethal counter takes him out. Easy peasy. Gonna switch back, just move on to the tower, take the objective, and clear this wave. Two members have fallen on the side of Ackerman.
Yeah, just some great engagements right now, and they're not able to save it with that Faramis. They're able to isolate, take him down, especially when it's on cooldown here, and now they're starting to zone out the rest of Ackerman to go for this Lord.
Yeah, Lord down to 50% already. There's nothing Ackerman can do at this point. Tarzan's not going to make it a time. You have no real strategy to go against that. So now, with the Lord coming, how much will Deuce Knights be able to take?
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely going to have to hold off. I definitely see in the near future that Ackerman is going to be losing all tier 1 towers. They only have one standing, and Sirius is already building up to possibly take that right now with Gauss Cutie there. But I enjoy the tenacity by the team. They're going to try to stop it.
Ooh, nice bloody hunt does luck on a Rose. Crossbow Tang goes off. Make that a double. Zia showing off at this point. Easy Peasy tries to make it, but he's a little late to the party, dodging a hook. Lord now coming down the middle. Deuce Knights need to find something to capitalize off of this. Take some tower. Make sure this Lord push is not for nil.
Yeah, I mean, they do have pressure up at the top here now as well, so they're going to be able to take that at least one tower out of this Lord. But man, you've had your time. Now we have a fed Wan who's looking to do some damage with that crossbow attack, because now you have two targets. Do you choose to take down Yato before he can get off that cult altar, or are you going to be trying to get down Zia before he can get that crossbow attack? And I mean, it's quite the decision to be made as it comes into these team fights.
Yeah, but a big suppression onto Rose there. Rose trying to flicker away, but Zia gets killed. Nice falling Star Moon, though, from Hikaru. A lot of damage. Zia will go down, and easy peasy on the chase. Yato using that Stampede just to try to get away as Gauss Cutie flickers as well. Tarzan, though, in between several members. Urashi hiding out in this bush, maybe coming in to help. Does not have the wild charge to do that much. Sirius will get taken down, but Tarzan goes down next. Easy peasy and Hikaru still on the field with Fleur standing behind them. Fleur sends out that Dawning Light, getting a bit, but a nice connection with that hook, pulling easy peasy in, but there's no bloody hunt to follow up. Now with minions closing in on this tier 2 in the mid, easy peasy and Hikaru will start to chip away at it, taking another tower, dodging a hook as it comes into the midst of them. Deuce Knights now backing off to eat up at this blue buff.
Yeah, and what we're seeing here is that even though we're seeing the Cult Altar go off, being it in the mage role, not having enough HP when the Cult Altar goes off essentially eradicates it by Fleur using the Dawning Light. So the combination of everybody grouping up together can actually cause a problem with a Dawning Light as big as that on the field. We're gonna definitely see how the side of Ackerman sets up for this. They're not on the proper side for the Lord, but I think they're trying to make up some charge by taking some towers.
Yeah, there's only 14 seconds, about 10 seconds left on this Lord, and they are not in position for it, but that doesn't mean they are out of the fight yet. They still have the pressure, especially with this Cult Altar and the Wan, and I'm not sure that Deuce Knights have the ability to take this Lord down that quickly yet. It's not going to be a Luminous Lord, so I think they are trying to bait it out a little, try to use it to lure in Ackerman, to find a good position to take down either Zia. Oh my god, what a chunk of damage there.
Yeah, and that puts Zia at a bad spot, and that's the great thing about that Dawning Light in this mid to late game. You catch someone during this Lord fight, you catch Zia in the back line, it slows him down a bit. He has gotten that health back already, but Deuce Knights now are starting this Lord. You're actually trying to come around the backside, moving on to Fleur, but a big Cult Altar does come in, but Deuce Knights still continue to press their advantage. Tarzan trying to find his position onto this Lord, does take it. Dawning Light comes in though. Tarzan very, very low. Sirius goes down on the side of Deuce Knights, and Ackerman have just returned shots fired. Zia still on the field pushing Deuce Knights away. It felt like Deuce Knights could make the counter takedown even though they lost the Lord, but just weren't able to find anything.
Yeah, what really played out was easy peasy wasn't there private.
Well, yeah, and then the concealed play into the back line. Grok able to zone out Fleur from being able to do a ton of damage or put a ton of CC down, which meant that they didn't have a big chunk of their damage for that fight. And then as soon as he was able to come in, you saw a lot of damage coming down, but it was too late, and it was a great play by the side of Ackerman.
Yeah, and it looks like Deuce Knights are going to work on this Lord. They've lost one tower in the bottom, one tower in the top. Ackerman finding a lot of value out of this Lord push. The mid tower will go down next as Ackerman continue to press in. Lord has finally been wiped off the map, but Ackerman may be able to take more out of this as Zia chips away at that tier 2. We're down to inhibitors, ladies and gentlemen, on both sides of the map.
Yeah. And both teams have been, like, you know, throwing it at him every single match. Like, you can definitely tell the passion and the fire from both sides of the team. And, you know, like, the biggest thing that we need to see here is that if you have a Balmon and had such a good control of the Lord, I mean, you done split push the lanes, allowed you to breathe a little bit, and then you go and you attempt to try to do a lot of damage and you miss what you needed to do on the Lord was hit that lethal counter retry and you weren't there.
Yeah, a great set of items right now. We do see 5 items on Wan right now to the only 3 on Claude. So she is going to be hitting like a truck, almost 2K above her rival marksman. His rival marksman is Zia right now. So we are going to be having some issues in Grok building completely physical damage, which we know with Grok's passive means he has just that much physical defense as well, which means he's going to be hitting like a truck and he's going to be able to sustain through a lot of whatever Sirius is going to be able to throw at him. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Deuce Knights. We're going to find out with these next team fights if they're going to be able to engage.
Watch for this Numenon blast. Colt Alder comes out, easy peasy, able to escape the touches of death, but now Sirius also starting in a bad spot. Tarzan takes him out as Yureshi comes back into that back line once again, gets a wild charge onto Fleur and picks up the kill. Deuce Knights getting back into a corner right now. Ackerman now clearing up some of these waves. I don't think they're going to stop at this. A wave of minions coming towards an inhibitor. Zia bouncing, waiting for another moment. Easy peasy, just trying to clear up the wave and not let them in. But Ackerman is here. They've taken inhibitor. They're going to back off now.
Go ahead.
I want to see if they can definitely compete for the Lord. They do have the Balmon, but do they go for it? They need to get in there now.
Yeah, Easy Peasy does try to find the position on that, but Lord did not reset. I felt like he maybe should have just went for it all the way, because now he goes down for not. The immortality comes up, but Zia gets the shutdown. That was it. I mean, if you're going to invest that much, you should have just dashed in and went for the lethal counter retry. At this point, you still died, and you got nothing out of that possibility.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right now they
nerves.
they're on the back foot right now. Luminous Lord looming down here. It's not the 18-minute Lord, so not as powerful as it can get, but this might be it. This might be all that Ackerman needs to close out this their second victory here. Only a Lord and some minions lined up, standing in their way of this core.
Yeah, bottom inhibitor falls. Lord's gonna have a free path in. XL Rose does use the Numenon blast. Lord, though, has connected onto a few minions. Cole Alter comes out. Car with the falling star. Moon does come in. Sirius with the blazing duet, but the damage is too much. The base goes down, and Ackerman takes game 2.
Wow.
Absolutely a beautiful draft into the synergy with that Cult Alter as we moved into the late game. A little bit of a frustration in the early game, as I feel like Yato was kind of still trying to dip his toes into the water, getting a feel for how he wanted to use the Faramis, how he was going to activate it there. But the problem is that there wasn't an answer for it as we came into the late game. In the early game, Faramis kind of struggles if you're not using him offensively. As we move into the late game, where everything is just such a team-centric game, everybody's grouping together, trying to make these team fights happen, that's where Faramis shines, and he was able to kind of keep his team topped up there. Zia, I mean, what more can you say here? Absolutely dominated once he got those items and was able to kind of wield on, especially with a Cult Alter, able to kind of keep him topped up. He was able to find, he wasn't really worried about diving in to get those weakness stacks. But man, I don't know if you guys were able to see it, but as these fights happened in the back line, Yurashi on this Grok just doing immense amounts of damage to that back line. Fleur had to run for his life while he's running, getting popped up and stunned by these wild charges. And then just when you think it's over, you've got a Grok with a blade of despair swinging at you and cleaning your clock. So, I mean, man, what
you're
impressive.
Talking about Yureshi, we got to look at him over these past few games. Game 1 had a lot of issues with Hikaru, but since then, we've only seen him get a little bit better, and he's completely already adapted to facing against Hikaru, and now it just feels like he is starting to dominate the lane a little bit. Hikaru now having trouble. Hikaru, after beating everyone in his path tonight in the XP lane, Yureshi has learned, Yureshi has calculated, and found how he can get the upper hand when going up against him. So now it's up to Hikaru to change the tide of this in that EXP lane, G.
Yeah, and you know, one of the biggest things that I do want to point out is that Deuce Knights have been going for a long time tonight. Are we seeing the stamina like peaking now for Deuce Knights? Are they kind of now puttering out? It's kind of looking, there's just like gaps, some mistakes that are coming in, kind of just like easy peasy going for the lore, but then deciding to try to back off at the last second when you should have committed. So maybe endurance is playing a big factor inside of Deuce Knights.
Yeah, I think it definitely could play something there. Deuce Knights, they did get their break, and I think a lot of these teams have been used to play. I mean, these guys play ranked games for like five hours at night, you know, like back to back. Now Deuce Knights though, and I wouldn't say like, I think the mess up there, even though actually no, they kind of just, they had that game in the bag for a little bit, I felt like, and then there was just a few misplays. Zia got online, and then they just weren't able to get to him. To where, on the other hand, Yureshi was able to get to the back line. They had someone on the side of Ackerman that could get to the background, disrupt, and just cause problems. Towards the side of Deuce Knights, we're just kind of a straight in. We're just going to attack your front and see if we can roll through.
Well, and I explained this during the match, is that as soon as Zia came up, you no longer had to just focus on Yato. You had to worry about, while you're focusing on Yato, while you're making him play those cult altars early, you have to worry about these weakness stacks on your team from Juan to be able to start to rain damage down on you. Once that happened, there were just too many targets. Add on to that Grok was getting stronger and stronger and having just a ton of damage to be able to not only get to the back line, not only CC them, but then punish them with heaps of damage as well. But we're going to be moving into this fourth draft. Is Deuce Knights going to be able to pick this up to be able to drag this out to a game 5? That's the question.
And it is a great question out that. It's 2-1 right now. Ackerman takes this. They go to the finals. Deuce Knights takes this. It'll be the first best of 5 we've seen in a long time, possibly ever. So I'm hoping. I kind of want it. I want to see Deuce Knights come in, have a great game here, and really push the limits. Now, bans coming in. We got Masha banned from the side of Deuce Knights, and the Diggy banned from the side of Ackerman, G.
Yeah, and you know, from the side of Ackerman, it seemed like they wanted to pick a Kai last game, but they weren't able to because DK ended up banning the Kai instead of a Fairness. So I don't think this time around we're going to see that type of mistake come through. And maybe on the side of Ackerman, they're going to be able to pick up that Kai like they would want to.
Well, right now we do have Faramis open. We do have Beatrix open. I mean, we've still got a lot of strong picks, but definitely learning their lesson. The same lesson that was taught to Ackerman yesterday is, yeah, let's go ahead and take that Faramis out of the equation.
Yeah, and it's a good ban. I mean, it's a have-to ban. I think last time it was a slight miscalculation. They thought they could maybe take it on, but they could not. Now, Tarzan picking up this Akai. It's a solid pick and easy peasy, immediately firing back with that Ballman, G.
Yeah, and I mean, what we got to see here is the Balmon was good. It was good, right? But we seen the Lolita pick and the Numion blasts were hitting like crazy. But there wasn't enough power because it didn't seem like Sirius was able to like farm up because of Zia. So I feel like we need to have some type of response to Zia. And that I mean, that's just, it's like checkmate at that point.
Yeah, we're gonna see how it ends up here. I think we're gonna be scooping up a Wan here, possibly. Before they have a chance to ban it, does Deuce Knights. We have the early game, we have the flexibility of that Beatrix, but now we also have the slow from the Yato. We know how comfortable he is on this Lilia, being able to output a ton of damage while also slowing, and also at some points being able to bait out abilities as we move into the mid and late game, where she's able to use those black shoes to come in, tank a bunch of damage, run back out, and then the rest of the team comes in once all of those ultimates have been expended.
Most definitely, but instead of going for that, they go for the Franco for Gals, and Gals has done well in the Franco, and I think it might be worth the sacrifice, but it's definitely a risky play, right? Like, Zia's done great on the Wan in the past game. He's finally kind of come online a bit, strutting his stuff, but Ackerman, they want to rely also on other players. So they let Gals get that Franco, who has also been online, has landed some amazing hooks, and just been a constant threat to the side of Deuce Knights.
Yeah, and being able to pick up the Esmeralda on that third spot seems to be something that they want to do. The biggest thing that we see change from this comp is that they pick up the Bia, and they still pick up the Balmon and the Esmeralda. So we got, again, I mean, we're going to have to see something from Fleur and something from Rose that's going to have some type of playability, some type of CC. They need some type of combo that can change the tides when they need the tide to be changed.
I would say, looking at the side of I'm wondering what they're going to do. So they go for the Dairoth ban, they go for the Wan ban. I was wondering if they were going to focus in on Hikaru's counters, but at this point, Yureshi's proved that he can deal with the Esmeralda with something like a Grok. I don't think they'd pick up the Grok here, because there's like already 2 tanks on the field, but I wouldn't completely count it against them, Private.
Yeah, I don't think the Grok was a problem in the laning phase. The Grok was a problem as we moved into these team fights. So, I mean, I probably wouldn't lean too hard on the Grok this time, just because you would have a problem making it to that phase where Grok would shine, especially laning against an Esmeralda. Like I said, I don't really think Grok was winning out against Esmeralda. Grok was winning in the team fights where he was able to get to the back lines, especially with those conceals.
Yo, Rose picking up the Grok. I mean, this is kind of, I like it too. I like it too, but is it something you really want to go into? Is it more of you picked it because you don't want to be you don't want to face it again?
I mean, it's a good counter for the Franco. You get the first skill to deal with that. You can pretty much null out his hooks. You also have a nice wall to deal with Yato if he tries to burst in. So I think it's, and we've seen them lacking CC, as you stated, so it gives them a little bit of that this time. Zia, though, picking up this carry to deal with some of the bulkiness of Balmond, Esmeralda, and Grok, but that is a long road against the lineup of Deuce Knights right now.
Yeah, we're talking about late game. We're talking about we're already packing up dinner type of a late game that you need to have for this carry to go off and be successful. Adding to that, Yu Zhong is able to get to the back lines and able to kind of surprise them, especially with that petrify. But right now in the current meta, he's so squishy compared to other compared to other characters and fighters, what they can bring into the table. He can dive in, but all it takes is a moment for the rest of the team to focus him, and then they get to turn their attention back to the rest of the team. So it's going to be a little interesting to see how Ackerman can make this work, possibly using that Yuzong to dive into the lane, which will give Zia enough time to kind of start launching off with that speedy light wheel and all the attack speed that she has to kind of start shredding these people down. But we're going to find out here as we move into game 4 of Ackerman versus Deuce Knights.
Yeah, and what I want to see from the side of Ackerman here is that we're seeing some pretty good CC, good amount of slow, but I like where you were setting the pace here, Private. I definitely feel like late game's gonna play a huge factor in here. Gal's Cutie already taking a heap of damage right into the early game here, and I feel like that's Lilia is able to put down that damage and rotate out. But back to what I was saying, I liked how you were setting the pace here. We're gonna have to definitely see the carry take off, get some items, and that's about where it's gonna have to be for carry. Is gonna be the late game. But can Sirius shut down the carry, stop Zia? Because I feel like Zia's been really carrying the last 2 games.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big thing right now. Carrying the last 2 games, especially as this early game, not the greatest, especially with carry's range. Does have to be in very close to make things work, but we do see 3 members trying to join the fight up at top lane, possibly looking for a gank.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to pull it off, though, but Yato is sitting here. Gals with the hook, ready to go. Rose going to walk right into that. But I don't think anything too major is going to happen. Gals is going to continue, I think, to hover over Zia a bit, because like you mentioned, the range is a lot to deal with when you're looking at a Beatrix going up against a carry.
Yeah, and I mean, what we're seeing here from the side of Deuce Knights, I feel like it's a good idea, like easy peasy trying to get the gold grab, but doesn't. Interesting. I mean, I guess it was just more he wants to save a lot of his utility for what's coming up here for the turtle. Again, I think they're just going to be super focused on objectives here on DK side.
No problem. Karu getting a little bit of a 1v2 down here. Turtle is now up. Tarzan uses the heavy spin just to honestly try to respond, pushing Fleur back into his own jungle, but he takes a lot of damage. Gals Cutie, though, with the flicker in, does get the suppression onto Fleur. Black Dragon lands on top, petrified and knocked off the field. Next, Rose trying to come in, gets the wild charge. Rose now, though, trying to run away because Yato has arrived as well. Turtle does go to the side of Deuce Knights, but at what cost, Private?
Yeah, they did lose some members there, especially I thought maybe it was a little bit of an early heavy spin but it did knock them out a bit, and they gave up on the turtle but went for the team fight instead, to the ire of Deuce Knights, who were able to capture it but lost some members there and then weren't able to capitalize after they had gotten the turtle. And look at the score. It doesn't even look like they're ahead right now. So definitely got to think about that as we move into these next ganks and these next turtles.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that, if Rose is not making the set, you probably need to back out and get out of there. They have a lot of utility and a lot of control on the side of Ackerman, and we just seen how different that can be in a team fight. The Tide looked like it was a little bit in the valleys, or not the valley. I'm looking at the clan name here. Is in the side of DK than it was for Ackerman here. So. I just think they're lacking a little bit of CC and control, and they're gonna have to always play off a Rose.
Yeah, and as we move down here, we do have a little bit of a flank. 4 members onto Zia. Are they going to be able to get this pick?
Yeah, Zia in a bad spot. Lethal counter comes down. Zia, though, with that sprint, able to get away in the nick of time. A wasted effort for Deuce Knights there. They do give Sirius a little bit of an advantage onto this gold tower, though. Turtle coming up in about 6 seconds. Gold still at a standstill.
Yeah, and they're still putting the damage and the boots onto that tower right now as much as they could. Playing the slow game here, only a 1-kill game at 4 minutes. Still waiting for this next turtle, which is about to come up. And I don't know that Ackerman is in a good position to try to counter this.
They want to.
And Tarzan does dash through that wall. Rose is here, does not have the wild charge ready to go. You're actually though with the Black Dragon. Easy peasy secures the turtle, but Gal's Cutie goes down. Yureshi takes out Rose. It's a 1-for-1 on the map. Yureshi though in the backside able to get the Petrify and the knock up, but it's at what cost? Once again, Sirius picks up that kill, shoots him down. A nice trade, I think, this time for the side of Deuce Knights.
Yeah, a nice trade, and I saw what the plan was. Oh, what a nice snipe on Zia there. Woke him up from standing still in that base, trying to take down that tower. But you saw that they came in with that Akai. They tried to stop the Belmont from the lethal counter. He just didn't have the timing right. So I know what the plan is here. They just need to kind of tighten up on that when they are in these team fights.
And again, we are seeing some amazing plays, and you know the map awareness is insane. You know, like Zia is able to escape out of a lot of things, and that could smell trouble for the side of DK. Again, even though they've secured a decent amount of turtles, we are seeing a good gold lead starting to build up. So I mean, the side of Ackerman's gonna have to have a little bit more control over the map, and I don't know if Akai has that ability, and it could also contribute to the Yuzong pick.
Yeah, easy peasy though, trying to come in on a Gals. Bloody Hunt comes in, but Rose interrupts it with that wild charge, and Sirius snipes him out of existence. Zia and Yato now just trying to defend, but I think it's too much. I don't think they're going to be able to save this tower, but Yato is ready. He has the Black Shoes. Maybe he can buy enough time to clear this wave, but everyone is on him. Tower goes down, Black Shoes activated, and the Beer's Passion comes out from Sirius to lock onto Yato, giving a lot of damage. Fleur now in the fray of things as well. Tarzan finally arriving, jungling a little late to the show because that tower is gone.
Yeah, they do have that insurance plan in the name of a late game carry, but right now they're putting so much pressure onto that marksman lane, onto that gold lane, that Zia might not be able to get there fast enough before Deuce Knights are going to be able to kind of close this up.
Oh, and the side flicker, suppression comes in, and Hikaru goes out, checking out of this match right now.
And I feel like this is where Gal's Cutie can shine at on this Franco, is because like one hook is all it takes to really do some damage against the side of DK, and we can see
what
I don't know what the heck that was.
Oh my god.
A shotgun shell to the face. Bow.
Jeez. And I mean, that's what a BA can do, though.
Luckily, Zia, though, does respond back by taking a tower, opening up the map. Now he also has the opportunity to rotate around a little bit. Tarzan, though, caught in between rows, forced to use a heavy spin. Easy peasy, waiting for a moment. Gonna move on to this orange buff instead. Concealed play coming from Gals and Yato. Looking, trying to get the Bloody Hunt. Does not connect. And Easy peasy able to escape with that orange buff.
Yeah, we're starting to see the damage start coming in for Zia. He is starting to pick up his items, but we're still kind of waiting. Only has the Wind Talker, doesn't really have the golden staff that he needs to really be doing a ton of damage as we're moving into this mid tower. They're really starting to enforce their will here without much complaint from Ackerman, and I feel like we're really putting a lot of eggs into this late game basket.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely, I agree. I mean, putting too much into one basket into that late game can smell a problem. But again, I still feel like the carry can come back. Not one death on the carry just yet. Zia absolutely staying alive, but we've seen quite a bit of conflict here in mid.
Oh my god! Hold the phone. Hold up a second. The Dragon Killer is here. The Slayer of Slayers. Sirius snipes this man out of flight. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. Lord, though, is on the map. Easy peasy, making work of it. Gal's Cutie looking for an angle. Decides to go for Rose instead. Rose goes down. Sirius is trying to zone. And Easy peasy takes the Lord. Tarzan, though, will be taken out after using that heavy spin. Thinking he can play with Sirius. Snipe shot lands onto Gals. And Sirius is taking this game serious right now.
I've never seen a black dragon sniped out of the sky, but man, that is a dragon killer in itself. We saw him down at the bottom using the shotgun. Now we're just waiting for him to use the missile launcher and machine gun to take down the dragon, to take down Yuzong as well. But they are on a roll. First Lord going over to him. It's not a luminous Lord for Deuce Knights, but they still should be trying to make something happen out of it. As carry, Zia still having a problem getting fed on this carry. I mean, trying, hasn't taken a death, but still about 2k behind the Beatrix right now. I mean, and we just picked up the Demon Hunter swords. I mean, still gonna be able to do a little bit of damage, but not if you had the golden, not like if you had the golden staff right now. And now we are rushing toward these towers.
Yeah, Hikaru maybe goes a little too deep there. Takes a bit of damage. Lord is coming on the top side as the rest of Deuce Knights want to work on this mid tower. Lord is down already in a matter of seconds, but they are going to get 2 towers out of this as Hikaru now takes the bottom side. A big hook with suppression onto Rose. Rose will be annihilated. You're actually using that Black Dragon to try to disrupt some things. Hikaru coming in using the Falling Star Moon, but another snipe, and down goes the dragon. Luckily, Zia picks up some pieces and is able to take down easy peasy. Sirius will be next. Gals Cutie with the concealed play now, chasing down Fleur. Watch out for that hook. We know it's dangerous. Gals Cutie has been landing them. Ackerman now responding. Deuce Knights in a bad spot. 1 tower goes down. Can they make it 2? Rose back on the map. I don't think they want to take this fight. They just want to try to defend. Fleur comes in with the darkening. Rose with a big miss. Wild charge connects with that spin onto Gals Cutie, but Zia continues to fire shots and does do some nice chip damage at this point in the game.
That was good response. Good response. I'm actually surprised on how much aggression they pushed to go there, but I enjoyed that they didn't overzealate themselves, you know, and push so hard there, and they ended up backing out a good time to be able to control. Go over there.
And they were able to wisely split up Sirius from most of the team damage, but we might be a little trouble here.
Gals bursted down. This is a nice advantage for the side of Deuce Knights. Are they going to capitalize it, or will they back off? Wait for another chance. Lord is up in only 10 seconds. Gals Cutie back on the map in 15. Deuce Knights deciding to claim the pit. Gals Cutie, though, Deuce Knights deciding to claim the pick. Gals Cutie, though, will maybe be back on in time. Tarzan and Yureshi coming in, looking for an angle. No, not time at all. They've taken the Lord. Hikaru now with the Falling Star Moon on to Tarzan. Deuce Knights, at this point, just need to sync up these lanes and hit a hard push.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely destroyed that Lord. I thought they had a little bit more time, but yeah, they are shredding it, and they need to have a plan going in here. They're no longer going to be able to just kind of rush in, because we saw what happened last time. We do have the Lord going to be coming in with the next wave, choosing the top lane for them, and this is all on Ackerman if they're going to be able to defend this.
Yeah, and I feel like they might be able to. You know, they're camping the bushes out. I think they're trying to secure maybe a couple buffs. I'm not quite sure what they're actually trying to do there as a play. They're showing some signs of you know, a little bit of wear here, but I think what's having a problem is that no one can get back there and put a lot of pressure on Sirius here.
Yeah, the Lord is coming. Let's see what happens here. Lord is coming. Zia decided to opt for the mid. A nice suppression onto Easy Peasy. Takes a lot of damage. Zia not able to connect though, and this is it. Immortality does come out, but Fleur goes down. Sirius though with a snipe shot. Lord still up. They take an inhibitor. Deuce Knights trying to press their luck as they keep up the aggression. Sirius continues to fire these snipe shots, but you gotta be careful for the hook from Gals. It is omnipresent, always there. Deuce Knights deciding to go for this orange buff instead as Easy Peasy goes back to homeland, grabbing an orange buff for himself as well.
Yeah, Easy Peasy took a lot of early damage there, had to retreat from it. Sirius, I'm not big and keen on this sniper rifle when you're trying to push into them. He missed a lot of those shots, and we do have a concealed play here, though.
Yeah, nothing big gonna come out of it yet, Private.
Yeah, well, and they kind of ruined an opportunity. They're able to get a top inhibitor, so not a completely empty gesture from this Lord here, but they are doing a better job, is Deuce Knights, of protecting Sirius. Sirius kind of splitting up from the pack. You saw the Black Dragon went in there, didn't really get too much out of it because Sirius was nowhere to be found. And I think they kind of testing the patience of Yurashi, who needs to probably wait until they see the Beatrix on the map, because that should be your target during these team fights.
Yeah, and you can see that they are trying to bait that out. I was about to point out while you were talking about all that is that it seems like everybody's kind of not baiting, but babysitting Sirius right now. Having 7 kills, almost all of the kills on their own team. If Sirius goes down, it could smell trouble for the side of DK.
Yeah, but Lord is up now, right? So will there be trouble for DK, or will DK be able to prevail here and take another Lord? With easy peasy on the map, he could have a slight advantage, but Deuce Knights want to take this fight in the mid instead, keep them at bay. I think at this point we need to start jockeying for the little Lord a little bit, fighting for positions, and Ackerman know this. They know they just messed up, and now they have a way in. Rose using a wall to try to bait them out of there. Ackerman moving to the backside. Sirius, though, waiting, plotting, sitting in this bush with the shotgun, waiting for the flick of play to try to connect onto Zia here, if you want to take my guess for it. Lord is now getting worked on a bit. The rest of the team still playing different angles. I love the patience. Sirius comes in, uses the flicker, and does not get a kill for that. This could be the shot for Ackerman to finally come in. Lord now down to half health. Sirius making quick work of it. Shotgun comes out. Easy peasy connects. Sirius takes the Lord. Tarzan unable to secure it. Minions down at the boss side, and Yureshi was forced to go back. So that helps get the Lord for the side of Deuce Knights there.
Absolutely great play by them. Sirius, so much patient, went in, tried to get the pump action onto Yato, not able to finish him off, so then decided to go ahead, help out on the Lord. But that was enough to kind of scare them and zone out the rest of Ackerman here, which allowed Deuce Knights to kind of pick up that Lord. But right now we have a Luminous Lord coming down with only 2 inhibitors left. This is looking good for the side of Deuce Knights if they can kind of keep this engagement and not take too much damage early before the team fight.
Yeah, they know this Lord, though, is coming from the top, so they're putting most of their focus into the mid and bottom. Sirius taking a very backside. He's brought out the Mach, though, and he's ready to start shredding. Bottom inhibitor does go down. Lord still marching in. Nibir's Passion comes out just to help clear the wave a little bit. Sirius still looking for a shot. Zia starting to make work onto this Lord, but it has connected onto the base. Deuce Knights know this is the moment. Can we find it here? Yureshi, though, still defending. Hikaru trying to zone. Sirius just can't connect. Now we're going to move on to the mid tower, though. All 3 inhibitors are down. Rose misses a big wild charge, but easy peasy wants to try to end it. Tarzan finds the pick onto Sirius. You're actually with the Black Dragon. Hikaru now on the run. Easy peasy, not able to find anyone, and Hikaru has to back off. Ackerman defends to fight another day.
And that's how I was telling you. You take out Sirius, this is when the tides can possibly change here. And they were able to get the Petrify off and be able to stop that. And now we see a really big pressure into mid lane. Are they going to keep committing? We are seeing a 1-3-1 to possibly maybe take some of this map back.
Yeah, they may be able to defend this, but I don't think Ackerman's going to be able to get too much from this private.
Yeah, I mean, Sirius is going to be back up in about 2 seconds, and they're going to have that pressure back again. Right now, they're trying to sync up the lanes to kind of put a bunch of pressure on to be able to kind of get macroed back up here. They're about 3K still behind here. Carry still not really doing what we want. Oh my God!
Oh, the hunt, the flicker. Immortality does come out. Yureshi goes down. That is a nice pick, and that is scary. The damage from Sirius, the damage from Beatrix is just insane.
And everybody does have to retreat here, and there is a bunch in the back lines. Scouts Cutie in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and Mortality comes up, but he's not gonna be able to escape this one. Will get taken out. They even use the wild charge to make sure they secure it. Minions on the base of Ackerman. Tarzan, though, maybe waiting for a possible steal. He knows they can't survive the next Lord, right? So it all comes down to this one play. Will he be able to do it? The heavy spin comes in. Tarzan takes the Lord, but will go down, and it doesn't matter now. Lord is up. 2 members standing. Gauss Cutie will be on the map. Yureshi comes onto the map now. Deuce Knights know that Lord is coming, and they want to try to end this. It's a 5v3. That is a lot of bombs. It should be able to clear the wave. Yato able to make them pop. The wild charge comes in, and Yato goes down. Zia trying to fight with all he can. Lord back on the map. Series goes down. Yureshi and Easy Peasy's getting shredded. Zia finds him, able to get it. Your Easy Peasy, though, goes down. And now Lord is coming 3 against 3. Hikaru, Rose, and Fleur back at the base. Can they defend this push? They have a bit. They do have some towers left. Yureshi doesn't have the Black Dragon to be part of this fight. Fleur, Hikaru, and Rose just trying to hold it at bay, but Gauss lands the hook, and Zia shreds him down. Now it's going to be a while. 17 seconds until Sirius is back up 23 for Easy Peasy. The crash comes in, the wall comes out, but they just don't have the melting capabilities to deal with this Lord right now, and Zia can shred through their tankiness. Hikaru trying to defend. Will this be the game? Zia's locked onto base. This could be it. Sirius trying to do something, but it's not enough, and Ackerman take game 3.
Yo!
That is going to end Deuce Knights' hopes of making it to the grand finals, as Ackerman truly earn their way back into facing the Valley on Friday. What an amazing match there. What an amazing play by Tarzan. And unfortunately, with that Lord steal, Deuce Knights had one hope, and that was to try to push before the Lord came out, to try to end it early. They weren't able to do it, and that meant that they had an 18-minute Luminous Lord barreling down the mid lane.
To tell me about that hook into the bush to secure the kill on the Fleur. That, along with hitting the retry on the Lord, those 2 plays right there literally turned the tide, and it was just insane that they were able to come back like that.
Now, I wanted to see a game 5, but a finish like that, a beautiful, exciting, and insane comeback of a play, however you want to call it, definitely satisfies my thirst for tonight's games. A game 5 would have been great, but Deuce Knights do go down here. Ackerman able to hold it together and possibly get their revenge next Friday against the Valley.
What an impressive... I mean, here's the thing, too. With as dominant as Deuce Knights was during this game, a deathless Zia, letting you know about the skill level that he does have in that marksman lane. It took a bit of time for, like I said, carry is at the complete end of the spectrum of late game, especially when you're facing heroes like this on the side of Deuce Knights. But Ackerman able to kind of pull through it. Zia with just 39% damage. Like, that's amazing for somebody who was shut down most of the game. Able to come in there through the back, find that positioning. The team doing a great job of being passive and patient. The second to last fight, Yureshi doing his best job to be very patient with that Black Dragon. There was a ton of times where I was just like, Yureshi, you're gonna use it? Yureshi, you're gonna use it? And I was just like, man, they are just really waiting. There goes a tower. But he was definitely waiting to see abilities come out, to see when they had the upper hand, for him to be able to go back there and repay Sirius for some of those shotgun shots to the face. And doing a great job were all of them here.
Yeah, Yureshi, after even having such a rough early game, able to pull it together and make some great petrified knockup plays. You don't see the Yuzong that much anymore, but Yureshi made it shine towards the end game there. We were all counting out Zia on this carry, but even that, you kept saying it. He went no deaths for a long time, so that end game came early. Christmas came early. Ackerman are able to secure it with patience, but the real play there, like the real thing, Tarzan with the Lord Steel. Without that Lord Steel, Deuce Knights would have won that game. Without that Lord Steel, I got a feeling it would have been GG's, easy, well played. But Tarzan waiting in that bush, waiting for a moment, and in the most crucial moment of this series, he makes the play happen.
I 100% agree. It was absolutely crazy. I was on the edge of my seat that whole time. 20-minute game, 12-12. GG's to Ackerman, putting up the fight and absolutely turning those tides.
Ackerman won, but Deuce Knights, the Deuce Knights we saw here tonight, the Deuce Knights we saw yesterday, I want to see more. These guys, these guys really showed up. They had the synergy, they had the skill level, the drafts, the rotations that I love to see from them. A few things here and there, maybe some kinks in the armor. Floor didn't do as great on the Linux. We saw in the second game, easy peasy on the Ling, maybe possibly forcing Ling in a spot where it just did not shine. But man, the rest of these games, how close they came, especially against a team like Ackerman, who've been pretty much the top in the league since they've juggled around their roster, I want to say almost a month ago. And Deuce Knights, like I said, I want to see more of this. I want to see them continue on here because that was just an impressive showing that I've seen from them, from a team that, like I said, biased or not, like I've been a fan of them since I came in here, and they have come from being like an underdog team to something that is a dominant force here.
Yeah, third place is definitely not bad in a playoffs where a lot of teams were hungry for it. Definitely one of the biggest clashing playoffs we've seen in a while in the past 3 seasons, and Deuce Knights have risen from a mid-tier team to securing a third place position in this series. So, congrats. Now, the real thing is, next week, will Ackerman get their revenge? That's all I have to say. We're not going to talk anything more about the subject. I'm sure we might cover it a little bit in the podcast later this week. But I want to say a quick thing to the viewers. If you guys are new here, thanks you guys for joining. We've had a big upsurge recently, and we appreciate all the viewers for coming out. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you feel crazy, shoot a share and show some love to North America. We are a rising community right now. Qualifiers around the corner. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for watching. Any last words from y'all, Private and Aiko?
Yeah, I mean, great matches tonight. I am so excited, especially, I mean, this is just showing how much these teams can grow in just a short amount of time. I am definitely excited for this this rematch of Ackerman taking on the Valley, and I just can't wait for what else is in store for NA.
Same. I cannot wait. It's going to be insane. And it's amazing to see the NASL grow, and I just can't wait to see what we can do in the future.
Most definitely. Now, I saw a couple questions. Finals will be next Friday at 8 p.m. Trust me, we'll be posting some content around it, some posts, so you'll be able to stay up to date with what's happening. But just make sure you set your clock, set your reminders in your phone, because grand finals will be next Friday at 8 p.m. Now, if you guys haven't already, make sure you check out G the Akayo and Private Dancer. They both stream, they create content. Private Dancer streams exclusively on Twitch, Aiko streams on G the Akayo streams on YouTube, Facebook. We all create content around ML, Discords. We've been doing a podcast recently. If you want to check that out, we may have some exciting guests coming up this week. So make sure you guys stay tuned in, and we'll see you guys next Friday in the draft.
See ya.
Good night, y'all.